Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the Rugby World Cup 2023 quarterfinals. We're finally here. 40 games so far we have covered on the channel, and now we're here for the big ones, the playoff matches. Unfortunately for one of these two sides, one will be going home at the end of this match, but the excitement for the other is they will be making their way through to the semi-finals. Now Wales, they will be looking forward to this challenge. They come in as favourites, and at the moment in this Rugby World Cup, they do sit 4 from 4. So looking to continue that undefeated streak in this contest. Looking through at their starting lineup, they have had to make a couple changes due to either injury and also reshuffling for the starting lineup. Gareth Thomas and number 1, Ryan Elias, will be slotting in at 2, and Thomas Francis as the number 3 for this matchup. So pretty much the stock standard of what was expected from the Welsh in their starting front row. Will Rowlands at number 4, and Adam Beard will be slotting in as the number 5. Jack Morgan moves to number 6, and he will be captain for this fixture. Tommy Riffle at number 7, and Aaron Wainwright at number 8. That is due to the injury of the Lupe Falatau, means that Wainwright gets that big opportunity, but throughout the minutes that we've seen him in this Rugby World Cup, he has been strong. He will definitely be able to fill that gap. Gareth Davis, the starting number 9, which is a big call. Of course, they've got Thomas Williams as the option there, but instead starting Davis alongside Dan Biggar, who returns into the starting lineup. He was off the bench last game due to the late injury of Gareth Anscombe, who is actually a player who misses out for this quarterfinal. Sam Costello will be off the bench, but Dan Biggar excited to be back in the starting side. He was the man of the match in the opening contest for the Welsh of their World Cup up against the Fijians. Would expect a big performance from him here. Nick Tompkins at number 12, with George North on the outside at 13. A stable midfield for the Welsh in this contest. Got Josh Adams back out on the left wing. Lewis Rees-Zammit coming off a hat-trick in his last contest will be out on the right. And Liam Williams at 15 to close out this Welsh starting lineup. Now, I should quickly mention before we get too far, and we got a donation before the live stream even started from a Nofu. So thank you very much, mate. I don't think we've had that happen in a very long time that we've been donated to before the live stream has gone live, but he said it was for the fish and chips. The question mark of why I only have one earphone on is because the last time I had both of them on, like depending on how loud you have things, you can't hear anything else that's happening in the room. So I always like to have one off just in case anyone tries to talk to me, and then I'm able to answer them in that regard. And also it helps me know how loud I'm being. But thank you very much, Anofu, for your generosity, mate. It is greatly appreciated. I do hope you do enjoy the game. In the chat, we have got a whole heap of people already, so we will be reading through in a very short moment. But first of all, we'll be looking through at this Argentinian starting lineup. It is Thomas Gasho and number 1, Julio Montoya at 2, and Francisco Gomez Cordela as the number 3. Now, I will mention there's been a couple injury troubles for the Argentines in their forward pack, but that front row relatively consistent with what we expected to see. We will also see Augustin Crevi coming off the bench, a huge amount of experience under his belt, and he will be looking forward to the chance. Like Guido Pitti at number 4 and Thomas Lavanini as the number 5. Juan Martin Gonzalez transitions back to number 6. Now, this is actually something I've been hoping would happen, but with Pablo Matera going to number 8, but instead it is Juan Martin Gonzalez at 6. The reasoning behind that is the injury of Pablo Matera last week. It means that he won't be playing. You know that the man will be gutted because he is one of those guys who have really helped this Argentine team grow and progress as a side over the last 12 to 24 months. Marcos Crema at number 7. Some would say he's a penalty magnet, but also can be a game changer. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. And then Fulcando moves into the starting lineup at number 8, a physical man who loves a line break. We'll be looking forward once again to this quarterfinal chance for Los Pumas. Thomas Kubeli, the starting number 9, rather than Gonzalo Berrano, who finds himself not even off the bench for this matchup. Santiago Herreras, the starting 10 ahead of Nicolas Sanchez. Santiago Shochabarez, one of the players who stepped up in their last contest up against the Japanese, with Lucio Cinti on his outside at 13. Mateo Carreras coming off a hat-trick. So him versus Lewis Rees-Zammit, both men getting 3 tries last week, and they are marking up with each other. So someone will get the better of that battle. It will be awesome to watch. Emiliano Boffelli out on the other wing, who have kicking responsibilities for Los Pumas in this contest, and Juan Cruz Malia the last man in the starting side. He's at number 15, looking to be stable at the back, just like Liam Williams will be for the Welsh. Right, reading through the chat, there is a lot at the moment, so I do appreciate every single one of you for being here. We have got there, hi all, and Hamish says, Robert, hello there, mate. Says, go Travel Planet, hey, mate. Good to see you, been waiting all week for this. Says Dylan, M Unicorn. Yeah, that's the thing. These contests, it feels weird that we've only got 4 games, definitely because every weekend we have done all 8 contests of the Rugby World Cup, so it's almost a lighter schedule. The fact that in only 6.5 hours' time, we will know 2 of the semi-finalists, it's kind of scary in a way, because that also means that there's 2 sides that their Rugby World Cup will be over. And when you look through at every side in this top 8, you know, there's a lot of great performances they've had throughout this Rugby World Cup. Wales sitting 4 wins from 4. Argentina, they've had to fight, scratch and claw every step of the way to keep themselves inside of that top 2 of Pool D. Coming into their last game up against the Japanese, that could have gone either way. They were able to keep on scoring tries. Mateo Carreras, a standout performer in that matchup. And yeah, there's certainly going to be plenty of excitement here. Good day, all Kiwi Lad supporters, says Arthur, and all roll over every team. The remaining 4 World Cup will be won easily, says Jack there. And also we have got, where is George, says Jack, he is currently sleeping. It is 3:30 a.m. here in New Zealand. So that is, I think he might be getting up for Ireland, New Zealand, if I'm not wrong. I think a lot of Kiwis will be. That is for sure. Hi, mate. I was there for Argentina, or when Argentina was versing Japan, says Jack Rose. So hopefully you did enjoy that game. It was back and forth. An extremely hard game to tell who would win it. Similar to what we saw for Wales in their opening contest up against the Flying Fijians. It was one of those edge-of-the-seat kind of games. And, yeah, definitely close to game of the round in the final round of the Rugby World Cup group stages. Hello, Hamish. Many thanks for reappearing on my screen. Wales is currently experiencing a renaissance period, and Warren Gatland has much to do with it, and so Argentina has chances, but Wales to win. Well, that's the thing. You look at Wales' Six Nations performance, and then you look at what they've been able to do throughout this Rugby World Cup. Being the top of Pool C is something that not many people would have been predicting at the start of this competition. For some reason, I did. I'll be honest, I have no idea why. I just had that feeling like they were going to come right at the right time, and they were able to do so. Good morning, Hamish, brother. Let's go. Live bombs on the way. There's Blunders and I from Colombia. Wales by 5. I don't know why I do these predictions. I really get even close. Welcome to the club, mate. Every time I try and predict who wins a game, I always get it wrong. But it's always fun. At the time, before we get to the game, can't pick South Canterbury, says Peter Wild. Yet the boys continuing the winning streak, getting themselves yet again another title in the Heartland Championship. Hi, guys. Would like to see Argentina win this game, but don't see it happening. With their performances so far, Wales have played quality and consistency going into this game, says Cited. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game for the Argentines, but I guess the passion is something that we'll have to look at in this contest. We know that Wales are fired up at the moment. With what we've seen from Dan Biggar throughout his Rugby World Cup, he wants to get a little bit more of a chance of showing exactly how strong he can be in his final Rugby World Cup campaign. And there's a lot of players in that same boat. There's a few men, Johnny Sexton, one, for instance, in the later game, he will be stepping down from that Irish side in the near future. So he wants to make a real impact in his last closing games. You're going to wear a suit for the final games of the World Cup, says Mr. Skits. That is the plan, yes. And it's a respectable 437 here in South Africa. I can't predict this one, says Gary. Yeah, one thing's for sure, it's going to be an epic clash when the two sides go head-to-head. Looking through at the benches, these guys could be the game changers later on in the contest. We know that the game is going to start at a fast tempo, but it's whether or not that both teams can just up that momentum that little bit more near the end of the 80 minutes. Dewey Lake at number 16, Corey Domachowski at 17, and Dylan Lewis as the 18. Jenkins and Christ Chinza will be the other 4 replacements. Thomas Williams off the bench at number 21. Sam Costello, I'm not sure how many minutes they're going to give him in this game. I feel like it will be a few, but there's still the chance that he only really gets 10 to 15 at the end of the contest. And at that point, will the game be won, or will it be a chasing upward hill battle for the Welsh in this contest? Rio Dyer, number 23, to add some speed late. Not sure who he will be coming on to the field for, but more than likely one of the 2 wingers in Josh Adams or Lewis Rees Zammit. For the Argentines, Agustin Crevi at number 16, Joel Scalevi at 17, and Eduardo Bello will be the man and number 18, Matthias Alemano at 19, with Rodrigo Bruni as the number 20. Then Bazin Velez at 21. Nicolas Sanchez, number 22. He could be a game changer for the Argentines later on in the contest. He had that man of the match performance up against the Chileans. We'll be looking to put on another performance here. Matthias Maroni at number 23 to close out this Argentine reserves bench. Argentina needs to get back to what they are good at. What has made them great, says Rudy, and also everyone wants the Pumas to win. Even Wales want the Pumas to win, says Xander. I feel like everyone knows at this stage the Pumas are the underdogs, and at this point, I'm actually going to show the odds for the 4 games that we've got of the quarterfinals. So the underdogs are Argentina. They are the second biggest underdogs of the weekend. The only one just that little bit bigger is actually Fiji. New Zealand, they come into the game up against the Irish as underdogs, only narrowly, but still the underdogs in that fixture. These are the 2 games tonight. We will be covering both of them on the channel as well. Then England versus Fiji. England are the heaviest favourites out of any side in this Rugby World Cup quarterfinals in the 4 matches, with the Fijians $3.10 underdogs. And then that one's a little bit surprising to me, but I can also understand why that is the case. But South Africa, $2.10 underdogs in their game up against the French. Of course, we see the return of Dupont, but we see a brilliant Springboks starting lineup. Mani Libok at 10 with Kobus Reinach as the 9. I think that was something that people weren't really anticipating, but it is going to be what happens, and it is going to be a great game to close out the weekend. But looking through at the way that the pools did sit for their group, of course, it was going to be number 1 versus number 2. So Argentina finishing up their campaign in their group stage with 14 points, getting a points differential of plus 58. The only side they lost to was England, but in that game, the first match of the Rugby World Cup for them, they did not concede a single try in that contest, but England getting 3 drop kicks. I don't know whether or not we're going to see that in their game up against the Fijians, but maybe there's that slight chance that Ford comes off the bench and causes some havoc for Wales. They are unbeaten at this stage of the Rugby World Cup, only missing out on 1 bonus point throughout their contests. They were able to beat the Fijians and the Australians. Now, Fiji went through due to the points difference as well as that head-to-head, so they will be facing England in the later quarter-final fixture. But overall, these were the 2 groups that did seem like they were going to be the closest, going down to the wire. But anyone wondering about the other side of the draw at the moment, New Zealand and France, they are the 2 sides that did qualify in Pool A, and then in Pool B, it was Ireland and South Africa. Scotland sitting 2-2, 1-3, and then the 4 losses for the Romanians. Looking at the chat once more, we have got there the Wales and the Pumas for the final, says Stefan, and also hi from Germany, says Tar, welcome in. Correct me if I'm wrong. Heard that Jaco Piper is today's referee. So for this game, I can get you the information. I believe it is Jaco Piper, though, unless we are both wrong in that case. And I have epic food line up today. Just smashed a Papa John's pizza, now having a coffee. Then when the game ends, cooking up some ribs and chips, then going to tear into a bottle of South African wine, says Dylan. So it sounds like you got it all sorted for the rest of the night, really, because I know it is getting close to evening time in South Africa, if I'm correct. Hello, Hamish. I think Argentina will pull it off. The Pumas 34, Wales 27. And yes, it will be Jaco Piper in charge of this one. Carl Dixon and Andrea Piardi will be his assistant referees, and Marius Jonker, the South African, will be on the TMO for this matchup. Now, I'm not saying specifically Marius Jonker, but the TMOs have been heavily involved over the last couple of weeks of the Rugby World Cup. So I'm curious to see whether or not it is the referee making the main brunt of the decisions here, or whether we are going to see quite a stop-start game, similar to what we saw in that contest between England and Samoa. I believe that was close to the longest game of the Rugby World Cup thus far, and I'm hoping that that is going to be a stat that remains that way, and we do have some free-flowing games similar to Tonga versus Romania. Keep it in the south. Argentina and New Zealand to win, says Sam Wilson. Yeah, the way that the the quarterfinals have set up, in some regards, it's unfortunate because all 4 of the top sides in the world, they are going head-to-head here. Only 2 of them will be advancing to the semis, but there's also the matchups that we've got now, which is Southern Hemisphere versus Northern Hemisphere in every single game. And the other side of it is in every game, the Southern Hemisphere comes in as underdogs. In every matchup, the underdogs have been defeated at least once, and I believe just the once. And then alongside that, the Northern Hemisphere sides, they are unbeaten at this stage of the competition. So there's kind of that same feel in every single game of undefeated Northern Hemisphere side going head-to-head with the Southern Hemisphere underdogs who are looking to cause the upset, which is kind of cool, I guess. And I'm wondering how many of those underdogs will be able to get the job done. We have got their easy win, 30 points to 18 for the Welsh, says Gary, and TMO needs to give more red cards to players breaking rules. The right thing to do, says Xander. And World Rugby really want Ireland and France in the final, says Justin. There is a high probability that the winners of those two games on the other side of the draw do go head-to-head in the final of the Rugby World Cup. Why can't I click draw? How dare you? Says cool story, bro. I was going to add it just because I know some people do enjoy clicking the draw as the option, but then I thought people might get more angry at me for having it as an option. But 25 degrees Celsius for this game in Marseille, 10 kilometers a wind, so that won't really impact the way that these two sides play too much. But I believe we're going to see quite a fast-paced game from the Argentines. I think the ball is going to be in Wales' court, though. Do they want to play that fast-paced rugby that the Argentines are going to be trying to play? Or do they want to try and slow it down a little bit, play a bit more methodically? Because we know when you take the wind out of the Pumas' sails, that is when they do struggle. I mentioned it on the podcast. If Wales can score 2 or 3 quick tries in this game, they may be just far enough ahead that the Pumas aren't quite able to get back into the contest. But if they go try for try and you allow the Pumas to stay in the contest for the last, let's say, 5 or 10 minutes, that is when they are normally able to cause those massive upsets. But looking through at Wales, I mentioned they were undefeated. They started the Rugby World Cup campaign with the win over the Welsh, 32 points to 26. Over the Fijians, rather than beating themselves, but 32 points to 26. The Fijians, they actually received 2 bonus points in that contest, 1 for scoring 4 or more tries and 1 for being within the 7. And that was actually the difference for the Fijians' Rugby World Cup campaign, as they were defeated in their last game up against the Portuguese. But then the game between Wales and Portugal went a different way, 28 points to 8. Portugal was strong in the early stages of the contest, but it was the hard work and determination of Wales in that second 40 minutes to help them extend that lead, winning it by 20 points. Their next game, it's going to be talked about for a little while. It was possibly stated as the low point for Australian rugby, 40 points to 6, the largest losing margin for the Australians in a Rugby World Cup game. They also missed out on the quarterfinals for the first time ever. So yeah, there's a lot to be decided for Aussie rugby at the moment, but Wales cannot be underestimated how much of a brilliant performance they had throughout that contest. Wales 43 to 19, their last win over Georgia to keep them undefeated at this stage of the competition and have them leading into this game up against Argentina with as much momentum as physically possible. For the Argentines, they did start their Rugby World Cup campaign with the low point. They were beaten by England 27 points to 10. Now, I should mention in that game, even though the scoreboard looks in favour of England by quite a bit, Argentina did not concede a single try in that matchup. Now, it was only their game really up against Japan that they have conceded a huge amount of tries. But other than that, these two games, only conceding the 1 try. Across them, 19 points to 10. They did get themselves a hardball win over the Samoans, which was a physical battle. And it showed that Argentina, they have got plenty of tricks up their sleeve, whether it is attacking in a physical game or whether it is having to play a little bit more strategic with the way that they use their backs. They're just showing Santiago Chocabarez. He was fantastic in that game up against the Japanese, which they were able to win it by 8 points, and then also having a large winning margin of 54 points in their game up against Chile, winning at 59 points to 5. In the chat there, we have got my predictions: Wales by 7, Ireland by 11, Fiji by 2, and the Box by 8. Says Dylan, and as a neutral, go Bok. But Wales are the better coach team, and also use more use to conditions. Says Albert, and also who do you think, or who do you pick on your Super Brew? Well, I don't actually do Super Brew because I am terrible at predictions. You can't draw in a knockout game, says Dylan. Exactly right. And World Rugby really want Ireland and France in the finals. Well, that'll be interesting. Both sides coming in as favourites in their contests up against the Southern Hemisphere sides. And good day, Uki in the house. The business end is here. Good luck to all the teams. Says, okay, yeah, hopefully it's just some good free-flowing rugby that we are seeing from all of the sides in the quarterfinals. At the end of the day, we don't want any blowouts. It would really be awesome if all the games are split by less than 7, just to show how close the rugby world is at the moment. But I have a feeling that if there was going to be a game that is split by more than that, it would probably be England versus Fiji, depending on what Fijian side do show up. And that contest, how has Australia won 2 World Cups? Says Mo, they have been great before. I'm hoping they will be great again one day, but for now, they're a little bit broken and they do have a lot to work on before they get back to the pinnacle of Aussie rugby. What's your score prediction, Hamish? Says Mornay, I believe I predicted Wales to win by only around 3 points, about 29 points to 27 or something along those lines. I feel like it could be a very close one. Like I mentioned, if Argentina can keep themselves in the game, they are in it for the full 80 minutes. If Wales manage to score themselves a lot of early tries, then that almost shuts down that momentum wave that Los Pumas' passion will bring them. So, yeah, if you're Wales, you've got to start quick because that's your best chance of being able to shut down the Pumas' support, shut down the Pumas' morale, and then you can slowly increase that lead just a little bit more. We have got their Wales should take it. However, Cape Town says Goldberg and Kia ora from New Zealand. Come on, Wales, says Jelaine. And there, and I, Hamish, not a very good point about Argentina not conceding a lot of tries. It can surprise a few people here, says Willie. They're a good side, Argentina, and when they play some good rugby, like they're hard to beat. I think that New Zealand have found that out recently in the Rugby Championship over the last couple of years. We've seen a few close games between Argentina and the South Africans. They are now consistently beating Australia when they go head-to-head. All Blacks are going out later. Says Callum, I appreciate you though, bro. Says Callum, and no matter what happens in that game, we will be live on the channel all the way throughout, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. These are the 2 games that we have got today. Wales versus Argentina, of course, our first contest of the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. And then the next game. It is not in 15 hours, 53 minutes, though. It has taken place in only around 4 hours' time. That's quite scary. That's the thing. All throughout the week, I've been excited. I've been nervous. I've been anticipating these Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. And now that they're here, you know, there's still that excitement, but there's also that little bit of sadness because 4 great sides who have had brilliant Rugby World Cup campaigns are going home in the next 2 days. And unfortunately, that is the reality of playoff rugby. A side has to win, a side has to lose. And in this case, neither of these sides want to be walking away without the win in their column and going through to the semi-finals. Now, I should mention the winner of this match. They will go on to face the winner of New Zealand versus Ireland. That is actually a Saturday morning game for us here in New Zealand, so a little bit earlier than we did see for this contest. I believe it will be an 8 p.m. kickoff in the UK on the Friday night, and then England versus Fiji. The winner of that game will go on to face France versus South Africa, so that will be a very intriguing one. Could even be a World Cup rematch for the final that we did see in 2019. 14 days away from the Rugby World Cup final. It's been a long competition. We have covered 40 games back to back to back on the channel. There are only another 8 to go, ladies and gentlemen, and that is why the nerves are kicking in. That is why all of these sides want to go out there. If you have 3 good games from here, you are lifting the Rugby World Cup. But to be able to do that, you need 3 good games, and up against the caliber of opposition in this Rugby World Cup competition, anything can happen. A bet on Wales to milk a win. And also come on the RG says, Callum there and greetings from the island. Well, this weekend is going to be awesome. Good luck to all the quarterfinal teams. Wales to win this game. Says Kevin there. And Vamos Argentina Carajo says versus or Universo in there. And also World Rugby might wish for Ireland versus France final. Must not try and manipulate it. Ben, I keep warning. Says Mark. That's the thing. To be honest, I have seen more talked about the referees this week in terms of people's concerns towards the referees rather than their concerns towards their own teams, which is, I guess, expected in playoff rugby that normally people will look at who is going to be in charge. I have heard so much about Wayne Barnes this week and what he did to the All Blacks in 2007. It was over a decade and a half ago, but people still mention it. You just hope that at the end of the game, no matter what's happened, both sides can still look at it and go, oh, well, that's the result. That's what's happened here. We can't change it. At the end of the day, we're going to be the better side throughout the 80 minutes. Love from Cape Town, South Africa, says Joe there, and greetings from Berlin. Go the RG, says Stuart there, and greetings from Cape Town. My prediction for the semi-final is Ireland versus France, says Connor. That cannot quite happen, though, Connor. That would be the final. In that case, why aren't you doing the Cricket World Cup? Pretty much because anytime we try and do cricket, we get copyright struck, and then we aren't able to live stream on the channel. We've had it happen 3 times, I believe, so far in the Kiwi Lads history, but we are hoping to pick up the Cricket World Cup after the Rugby World Cup is over and perhaps over on the Kiwi Lads Sport channel because, yeah, or else we end up with copyright strikes. Cannot stand Scotland, but I have Irish family, says Callum, and also New Zealand will win the next game. Ireland do not win World Cup, says Stull, although that's the thing. It's a historic run for the Irish, and they are looking to extend their winning lead by even more, up to 18 wins in a row if they do win this next game up against New Zealand. But you are correct. Ireland have not got a World Cup yet. But this time, looking through at the starting lineups, ladies and gentlemen, as the national anthems do play the Welsh, and I'm ready to go. Of course, I'd love this game to be at the Principality, but it is going to be in Marseille. Still a relatively close game to home for Wales, and in fact, that's that bloke Prince William. He's in the attendance for this contest. Gareth Thomas at number 1, Ryan Elias at 2, and Thomas Francis at 3. So no real surprises for the Welsh in their starting. From row, Will Rowlands at number 4 with Adam Beard slotting in at 5. Jack Morgan as the captain will be blindside flanker. Tommy Reffel at 7, and with the injury of Lupe Falatau, it means Aaron Wainwright comes into the starting lineup as the number 8, Gareth Davis at number 9 with Dan Bigger as the 10. He returns into the starting side after his earlier injury in the game up against the Australians. Nick Tompkins and George North in the midfield combo. Josh Adams out on the left wing. Lewis Rees-Zammit coming off a hat trick out on the right wing, and Liam Williams at fullback. They had stability, have a little bit more security under the high ball. That is the Welsh starting lineup. Looking through at Argentina, there's Thomas Garcia at number 1, Julio Montoya at 2. He will be captain for this contest, and Francisco Gomez Cordella starting in at tie here. Prop Guido Petti and Thomas Lavanini as the locking duo, with a little bit more coming off the bench with Matthias Alemano. Juan Martin Gonzalez transitions from number 8 to number 6 due to the injury of Pablo Matera. Now, that is actually a game-changing one for the Argentines. I guess the thing that makes it a little evened out is the fact that Wales do not have to look like Falatau for this fixture. Marcos Crema will be at number 7. Focando is at number 8. And then the combo, Thomas Kubeli at 9 with Santiago Herreras at number 10. That is due to no Gonzalo Berrano here for Los Pumas. Xoco Barres had a good game last week, so he will now be starting at number 12. Lucio Cinti at number 13. Then the back 3, Mateo Carreras, he is going head-to-head with Lewis Rees-Zammit, 2 guys who got hat tricks last week, now facing off for this quarter-final. Emiliano Boffelli out on the right wing. He will have kicking responsibilities for the Argentines, and Juan Cruz Malia at number 15 to close out the Argentine starting lineup. Looking at the chat, we have got Wales by 8, says Jimbo. And good morning, Irish, says Zion. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. Our WF with the suit boy, says the generous king. Well, if we didn't have the suit on, we would get absolutely crucified. In this case, we always put it on for the big matches, and what bigger match than a Rugby World Cup quarter-final? Of course, the semi and the final, we will all have the suit on for those ones. Tell you what, if this RG team clicks today, you'll see something else. Says Ocker, and you reckon dropping the All Blacks player I was harsh, says Toby. I mean, teams do have, I guess, protocols that they do have to try not to breach, and in this case, Mark Talia, he did breach them, so I can understand why he's been left out. Yes, it's not ideal timing, but I mean, Lestafan Arnuku, I think he's going to do a tremendous job out on that left wing, going head-to-head up against none other than Mac Hansen. I'm so nervous. Cracked a beer at 3:30 a.m. Go the ABs, it's our religion. Says Sai there. And also we've got the afternoon average, says Robin Wood, welcome in. And also what did Talia do? So he did come back a little bit later than team curfew, which did mean that he's been left out of the side due to, it says disciplinary issues, which makes it sound quite bad. But yeah, it was just, he was back after the team curfew. You're a legend, Amish, says Bill. I want to see fair officiating, and may the best team win in all the games. Keep rugby clean, says Freedom and Truth. And US coverage not showing 2 great anthems. I would have gone with Argentina, except for Matera's injury. Wales by 3, says Gus. Yeah, it is a big one for the Argentines to not have Pablo Matera here. He's been the foundation of the Argentine four-pack throughout the last 2, maybe even 3 years. And also we have got there, hi Amish. Please say hi to my dad, Dave. There's Lyle, so hello to your dad, Dave. Is Dave watching as well, Lyle, or is he going to be getting up a little bit later on for the upcoming games? We have got there, appreciate it, my guy. Just Justin Callum, no offense, or just testing maybe. Says, Darwin, how's it, lad? Says, I was here, welcome in, and come on, Wales. Says, right in. So do let me know, ladies and gents, as we are only 1 minute away from the kickoff, who do we think will score the first try? The exact player who gets over the line. Excellent, Kobe steak again this evening, morning all, says Kerr. You're living the luxury, although you do deserve it with the hours that you put in, Kerr. You're probably in a completely different country, or are you still in Japan now? Don't cry for me, Argentina, you're going home. It's okay. Says Tarsis. And first 20 minutes we'll be telling, says Hangarat. Exactly right. If Argentina can match the pace of the Welsh, or maybe even create their own pace here, that could be a massive help here for Los Pumas. I mentioned if Wales score 2 or 3 quick tries, the game may be over before we know it, because normally Argentina, if they can be close in a game, that is when they change it and manage to help themselves towards victories. But now kicked off by Dan Bigger. It's gone long into the Argentine 22, and the Rugby World Cup quarter final is underway. Big shot coming in from Josh Adams to start it off on Emiliano Boffelli. Francisco Gomez Cordella hits it up 10 meters out from the Argentine line currently. And it looks like Kubeli gets it back to Santiago Herreras. Does then put the ball into touch. Like the stream people appreciate. The stream is always Pelsi's Killum. And yeah, that's been hugely appreciated, every single one of you, for being here throughout these Rugby World Cup live streams. We have covered 40 games so far. We have got 8 to go, 7 after this one's over. So we are getting to the business end of the competition. Ryan Elias gets the line out right on the halfway line. Now short ball from Tompkins to George North. A Welsh midfield combo linking up quite nicely early on, just like they have throughout the Rugby World Cup. Dan Bigger off to Josh Adams, flat pass out to Lewis Rees-Sammer with the chip and chase. He scored tries like this before, but it sits up there and well cleaned up by Emiliano Boffelli. Almost dropped the ball, but Josh Adams makes the tackle on him. Jack Morgan looking to get the turnover in the breakdown, but is unsuccessful. Alavanini, 15 meters out from the line, does take contact. Argentina looking for the kick down the middle of the field rather than going for the touchline. Nicely cleaned up at the back by Dan Bigger, who goes for the up and under from the halfway line. It's a massive injection to have him back into the side, although he has knocked the ball on there by the looks of a referee. Almost set play on, but they will go back now for this scrum. Dan Bigger coming back in. Anscombe injured in this case, so he will not be the man off the bench. Instead, it is Sam Costello. Wales looking serious, says Jody. Yeah, both sides looking the business in the early stages of the fixture. Just that little knock on from Dan Bigger after his up and under. Unable to claim it. Yo, in the chat as well. Welcome in. And also, we have there Zach Morgan, says Eric. And there are like matches with no sun in the player's eyes, says Doomy. And luckily, the later game, and I believe this one, we are not going to be the sun in their fast-paced game, says Robert Wood. And it's that question of who will be able to match this tempo for the longest in this contest. Because if we don't have a lot of stoppages, I can tell you right now, both sides in 25-degree heat, they're going to be feeling it by the end of the game. Now, Argentina, they have got themselves the scrum feed just out from their own 22 here. This is the most serious everyone has been here. Party's over, says Cool Story, bro. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun throughout the group stage matches, but now the reality is hit that both of these sides are playing off for a chance to continue playing in this Rugby World Cup. The loser, they will not have any more matches. Dan Bigger once again sends a high impact. This time it's Liam Williams, but beautifully taken under the high ball for Argentina. Liam Williams a little bit slow getting back to his feet. Kubeli back to Santiago Carreras, and they decide to run it from inside of their half. Our Welsh Santiago, Shoka Perez, Juan Matan Gonzalez. In fact, sorry, it is Juan Cruz Malia. Now Argentina moving to 30 meters out from the line. Pop pass up to Thomas Kubeli to get a little bit of a start in an earlier game of the Rugby World Cup. It hasn't had a huge amount of minutes. They have opted to go with Gonzalo Bertrano more times than not. Juan Matan Gonzalez. In fact, this time it's Fulcando Isa. Bounces back up to his feet, keeps the momentum flowing for the Argentines. Now a little pop pass out. Santiago Shoka Perez goes off. One more to Emiliano Boffelli. Nick Tompkins has to make the tackle on, who's already lost half of his number 12 At the moment, he's 1.5. Now, big run from Uriah Montoya, finds the offload to Kubeli. Argentina putting together some brilliant phases in the early stages of this quarterfinal. Almost turned over there, but they have got the advantage in favour of Los Pumas now 4 offside. So they've got the 3 points if they want it, but instead they will look to continue attacking just for now with Francisco Gomez Cordella. Kubeli looks off to his left-hand side off the Fukanduiza. Tackle low, great work from Gareth Thomas for the Welsh, but numbers on the outside now for Los Pumas. Santiago Chochavarez goes up to 1. Cruz Malia still 5 metres out, 11 phases put together now. Lavanini goes round the side of the breakdown with the pick and go. Got a bit of work in the breakdown there from Wainwright, and they will go back for the original penalty. This game is fast-paced. I don't think we're going to get a lot of breathing room in between what is happening. But Argentina is having some good attacking moments, but we do need to credit that Welsh defence other than the one time that they did get themselves offside. I believe that was actually Gareth Thomas who did jump the gun just a little bit. In fact, they're showing Ryan Elias. I think it was the two of them who did try and rush up. And Wales looked like he also has lost half of his number. It's no surprise that these sides have put in some big physicality early on. We have a game, says Robert Wood, and let's go Puma, says Andre. So it looks like Argentina will opt for the 3 points here early on in the game rather than going for the corner, which is understandable. At the end of the day, in finals rugby, you take the points when on offer, and that is what Argentina will do here. What's the odds, says Kerr? So Argentina came in as $2.80 underdogs for this contest. That was at the start of this fixture. As you can see here, I should mention that every New Zealand side, or sorry, not every New Zealand side, every Southern Hemisphere side has come in as underdogs for their contest. But New Zealand, they are actually now $1.97 underdogs. Argentina, after the way that they've started, they are still sitting at $2.80, although with this kick going over, I believe they will drop to around $2.50 in this matchup. But Emiliano Boffelli, well and truly within his kicking range, and the boot is just, no, it's gone away to the left. A miss from Emiliano Boffelli. That is a massive one early on, I believe. Just didn't quite strike it the way he would have liked. Perhaps the pressure, perhaps the nerves. But it does now remain at 0-0. I've got 1,000 on the ABC score. I'm really rooting for the Argentines. I hear just like I was rooting for Portugal in their match against Fiji. Come on, Argentina should put 100 on the Panthers. Says Kerr. Well, they certainly started this match well when it comes to their attack. That's for sure. But yeah, missed kick from Emiliano Boffelli. Not what the Pumas will be wanting early on in this game. Kubeli goes across now to Uriah Montoya. Is the Argentine captain, of course, missing Pablo Matera in this game. Still Montoya ready to go, although that is kicked out on the fall by Santiago Herreras, who did try the up and under. It seems like the pressure is starting to build up just that little bit more. Warren Gatlin looking calm in the coaching box. Knows that the job is not done yet. Yes, they're undefeated in their quarterfinals, in their group stage fixtures, but now in the quarterfinals, they need to walk away with a victory. Good pressure put on Gareth Davis there by Juan Martin Gonzalez, but beautiful backline here from the Welsh through the hands. Liam Williams gets it out wide to Lewis Rees-Amadou once again, goes for that chip and chase, well marked inside of the 22 by Emiliano Boffelli. And that will now slow the game down just that little bit. Wales is right for the taking. Likely to be here in the quarter, says Jeff. And also we've got the Argentina are an intense 80-minute team. Wales will have to be in it the whole time, says Hanger Rat. And early sub for the Welsh kit man, says Gus. It seems that way, like numbers are just falling off. Soon we will not know what number people are. Luckily, I've recognised the faces of the players. They're nicely taken by Emiliano Boffelli under the eyeball. Santiago Chochavarez goes out to Fukanduiza, who tried to find the offload to Carreras, but was not quite able to. Now going to the right-hand side. Carreras. One more ripped away by Josh Adams, I believe it was, even though at the moment he is 1.1 in terms of his number. Maybe their Wales are doing the same job since 8 minutes, or doing the same job since 8 minutes, says Jody, and ABs will win today. And come on, Argentina, says Sino T. And I got a feeling Argentina is going to win, says Mike. That's kicked high by Davis. Down towards the halfway line. This one will stay in the field of play. It's going to be tapped back onto the side of the Welsh and a knock-on advantage against Argentina. Now George North in the midfield goes out wide to Lewis Rees. He thought about the chip and chase once more, but this time goes for the fin. Massive 4 pass from him, but cleaned up by Lucio Cinti just on the Argentine 22. Back across to the right-hand side again. It will be Fukando Isa this time. The advantage in favour of Argentina due to an offside. Oh, no, advantage over. It was actually a knock-on. We have to get there. Hi, guys. What happens when the teams have a tie at the end of one of these games? Says Marina. So they would go to extra time. Then from there, I believe, if it hasn't got a decisive winner, they might even go to a kickoff. If I'm not wrong, we have only really seen that happen. But I believe extra time is something that they go to, of course, first in the Rugby World Cup playoff games. But yeah, it will be an interesting one to see if it was that close. And to be honest, this is the game I feel could go down towards that extra time just because both sides, they are so evenly matched at times, the way that they play. Now running forward, it is Dan Bigger, 40 metres out the line, slings it back across to Josh Adams. Look for the offload. Didn't actually really have the option he was after, but Jack Morgan does manage to clean it up. Here comes the skipper up to the halfway line, passes to Gareth Davis, who is numberless at the moment. Tell you what has gone wrong with the Welsh kit design in these quarterfinals? Whoever decided to put the numbers on reminds me of an envelope that you got to lick to try and seal, except no one's licked those numbers. Liam Williams is number 1, but it is going to be a goal line dropout now. Both sides have turned up, says Robert. And also, sorry, but Wales look boring, says Jody. I mean, they haven't done really anything too wrong yet in this start of the game. Liam Williams, though, trying to spin out of that challenge, moves up to 25 metres out from his own try line. And now Wales will go off to the left-hand side here. It is off to Gareth Thomas. Now looking to go for this box kick. Don't lick the Welshman, says Fluffy. All this kicking is aimless, says Hanger out. Although I think that a lot of these kicks, we've had 50-50s, haven't we? In terms of the way that it has been going. That one has gone downfield. That will be cleaned up now by Argentina as we pass the 10-minute mark in this match. Emiliano Boffelli with the straightening run. Thank you, Mark, says Marina there. Fukando Isa once again tackled low. Lavanini gets it out of the breakdown. Santiago Herreras goes across now. A little bit of space opening up for Juan Martin Gonzalez. He's a brilliant, elusive runner in that loose forward trio. He is playing 6 for this game. We have got there. Wales is getting exposed, mate. Says Chronic. Sounds like Eddie Jones in the chat, doesn't it? Unfortunately, though, for Eddie, does have to watch this game rather than coaching it. Now to the right-hand side, Thomas Gubelli going off to Francisco Gomez Cordella. Incredibly evenly matched squads, says Gus. Now Thomas Gasho. Tackle low, but Thomas almost over the ball in time for the Welsh. Now another offload from Juan Cruz Malia Carreras. Going back now 30 metres out from the line here for Argentina. Jaco Piper almost gets nailed in the challenge, but just manages to evade. Wales giving them too much space. Now loop and pass goes in behind. Had to be cleaned up by Juan Cruz Malia on the halfway line. Low pass out to Boffelli, but it is too low knocked on there from Argentina. Argentina is more accurate. That's not saying much, says Hanger Rat. And everyone, please hit the subscribe button. Gawy Lads needs you to go to this channel. Says Rudy, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated. You all being here for these live streams. We are on the road to 38,000 subscribers. So if you do want to help us get there, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have got there, says Fluffy, and also Wales jerseys. Says Chronic, yeah, at the moment, they're going to have to get some spray paint and just put it on the back. There we go. The Welsh jerseys, they've got a few spears by the looks of it. But all of the numbers have been falling off. It's pronounced Jaco Piper, or Paper, says Kate Rebel. And then let the Pumas win. They'll get, or let the Pumas run, sorry, they'll get tired, says Tarsis. And also, awesome commentary. Feels like I'm watching the game, says Mike. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, like I mentioned, anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are only 65 away from a 37,600. So let's see if we can get there by halftime. Now, Gareth Davis about to feed the ball in for the Welsh. Tackles made 33 throughout this match. They have only had possession 28% of the time in the early stages of this game. Going to the right-hand side here, Dan Bigger looping around. was Gareth Davis, who now gets the ball on the outside to Liam Williams, who's doing a weird crab walk type thing. I know that that's something that they do in wrestling, how you walk off your knees. Liam Williams not quite able to get that stability underneath him in that case. Now Wales back to the left-hand side. Gareth Davis, the numberless man, George North, almost able to go through, finds the offload to Davis inside, ball damn bigger between the sticks. Will score the try. He was fired up in the opening. He'll be even more fired up right now. Dan Bigger scores the opening try of the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. And for Wales, that is exactly what they needed. They haven't had a lot of the possession, but now showing that they can be clinical when they get it right. Dan Bigger scoring in the 14th minute of the contest. But that said, not a lot of possession, not a lot of chances, but they have now got that one through. I think they are just kicking this last pass. And Liam Williams having to work extremely hard just to get feet underneath them in that case, but it was a great offload up. Davis then passes it behind to Dan Bigger. It is backwards, and that will now be the first try of this Rugby World Cup quarterfinal. Dan Bigger, after his man of the match performance, he is absolutely loving it. 15 minutes gone. Now lining up this kick, Dan Bigger. And also Bigger first, says Jimbo, and try, says I was here. And great try, says Brian, and well done, Wales. He gets the run of play, but well done, says Ockert. And it's something that, I mean, the perfect example of that is Ireland versus Scotland. Scotland had all the possession, put it together phase after phase after phase. But then, after that, that was when we saw the difference maker. We got all... There we go. Hopefully that sounds a lot better in the microphone. I think echo cancellation was turned on. Hopefully that's a little bit better, Chronic. Do let me know. Are you from Australia? I am not, no. I am from New Zealand. So we're currently sitting 4:17 a.m. Yako's got an injury. He is limping back to halfway line. That is from when he had to avoid contact. Okay, Yako Piper has said, okay, Carl Dixon is now going to be the head referee. Yako Piper's calf is gone, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about players and I guess the way that their Rugby World Cups can be over. This looks like now Yako Piper, it could be the end of his Rugby World Cup, but it's the calf not able to keep up with the intensity of this contest and also with the pace, probably running after that one as well for the breakaway try. Wouldn't have gone too great for Yako Piper. So now Carl Dixon. Now this is completely different for the players. We've got to remember, Yako Piper will referee in a certain way. Carl Dixon, he'll be looking for different things. He'll be looking in the breakdowns now as something else to watch. Normally relatively persistent, but now we do see, I believe that's Jordan Way, having to get ready for this opportunity. We've got a little bit of a short intermission, ladies and gentlemen, while the referee does get switched over. Poor fella, says audio. I've never seen that before, says David Vickers. I'm trying to think of the last time I saw it. I saw it in the sevens. It was actually, ironically, I think it was Jordan Way who ended up with the injury, and now he comes in as the injury replacement. But the reason that he is going on there is because of the injury of Yako. People don't appreciate how fit refs have to be. It's a bloody hard job. Keep up for 80 minutes, says Jonesy. It certainly is. They have a lot of fitness that they have to do to be able to match that intensity, match that tempo that the players touch referee play, says Jody. Or in this case, it's actually not the touch judge. Well, the touch judge comes in as the main referee, but then the other ref will be Jordan Way, so he will replace him on the touchline for this matchup. We have got what happened to the ref, says Aneki. So he had to avoid contact from one of the Argentine players running forward. He kind of awkwardly tweaked his calf and then trying to chase after that one wasn't able to keep up with the pace, so he decided it is now time for him to switch out, and then Carl Dixon will come in as the main referee. Can't believe Yako is injured, but yeah, they do plenty of running too, says Mike. And also we have got there, the French papers were reported as a groin injury. Says Robert, hello boys and girls, start of an exciting weekend, says Stretch. It certainly is. There is plenty more coming up for this Rugby World Cup, and there's still plenty more remaining in this game as well. Of course, we have just seen that first try converted by the Welsh, but there is still time for Argentina to get back into it. Dan Bigger goes off to Liam Williams, and it looks like Wales are going to run this one out from the inside of their own 22 and making a few easier meters there for Liam Williams. I sent it I've seen it in an English league game, not sure. Have I seen it in an international game before? We've probably get more miles. And then the players, there's David Vickers. They do cover quite a bit. Even the touch judges, when you watch them running back and forth, trying to keep up with the play, it's not unknown. The ref got a red card, says Ben, but it's going to be knocked back by the Welsh. They will retain possession once more. Dan Bigger goes off to Liam Williams. They're allowing him way too much room to run, and every time he's in a one-on-one, he's made a few extra meters in the process as well. We have got 5 gifted memberships from Jimbo as well. Thank you very much, mate. Are you from New Zealand or South Africa? Says Russ. I am from New Zealand. Who's the ref? It is now Carl Dixon who will be in charge of this one, and Jordan Way comes in on the assistant side of things. So Mikhail has been gifted a membership, same with Joe D, CCC, Marina, and also Audio Check have all got gifted memberships from Jimbo there. So thank you very much for your generosity, Jimbo. It's greatly appreciated. And New Zealand, says Richard there. Now Argentina back in possession. 17 minutes into this contest. Has been put high, knock on there from Gareth Davis, and then Mateo Carreras also knocking the ball on. Because we mentioned about early injuries for players in terms of the men off the bench are not expecting to have to play so long. And the game's similar to what we saw for Dan Bigger and Gareth Anscombe in an earlier game of the Rugby World Cup for Wales. But the referees, Jordan Way would have just been watching on. He would have known that he was the backup. But in what case have we seen that happen in this Rugby World Cup, or even in the last little while, where a referee does have to go off injured? Like I said, the last time I saw it, it was actually the Sevens, and Jordan Way was the referee who he actually had to go off for an HIA. Am I your first Argentinian subscriber, says Mikhail? We have got quite a few Argentinian subscribers, but now with that membership, I believe you are the first Argentine member, if I'm not wrong. We have got there, cheers everyone, says Jimbo. And also top lad Jimbo says I was here, and I'm OMG, I appreciate, says Joe D, and also it's Submiss, says Scrum Lass. And there as well. Have you ever thought of commentating as a profession, says Thomas? I'll be honest, not really to a certain extent, mainly because I think the thing that makes it so much fun for these commentaries is because you guys are here in the chat as well. Being able to talk along with the matches and then also being able to chat to you guys, I feel like makes these live streams feel so much, I guess, more personal, as well as it's just a group of people who love watching rugby all getting to talk together no matter where they are in the world. And now we need a Puma try, although that is now going to be the knock-on from Santiago Chocobares. In fact, it was the forward pass. We have got their Monday flight from Paris to Joburg is full, says Young. And also what happens if the ref gets injured as well, says Sided. I assume they'll have one more backup just in case, but yeah, the thing is, even in the games that the referees aren't in charge of, they are still going to be there as, I guess, just spectators being able to watch on. Just showing up there, Jamie Roberts. He'll be relatively happy with how it started in this contest. And also George Gregan is there in the middle as well. Marina's got the super sticker. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciated. With the way some referees officiate, I'm surprised more refs don't get caught up and play, says David Vickers. Yeah, you've got to be right in the action, and that's probably something that referees don't get enough credit for, because I know that people talk about, we've already mentioned it here in terms of the fitness that they need to be able to keep up with the contest, but to be able to stand that close to what's going on and not get hit too often at all. Yes, it's also credit to the players, but the referees, they have to be quick as a cat at times to be able to avoid getting hit. First South African going home early, Yucko Paper, says Young. Why do the Wales rugby jerseys look so cheap? Numbers falling off the back, says John. Yeah, it's very confusing at why they're all falling apart so far. Of course, the jerseys, I should mention. There's about 4 players with 1 on their back now. Tompkins is number 1. Liam Williams is number 1. I think maybe Gareth Thomas still has his 1, but he might be numberless at the moment. I really like Andrew Voss as a commentator. If you know him, says Thomas, certainly do. Now going off to the left-hand side, Nat Tompkins, number 1 in this case. Now, Adam Beard. I haven't even seen Adam Beard take contact, and he has lost his number as well. Now, Will Rowlands moves up to only about 45 metres out. Julian Monchaja looked to go through the middle. Isn't quite able to do so. Going off to the left-hand side, though. Dan Bigger on the outside to Josh Adams. Looks like he has stayed down rather than trying to get back up to his feet. The last maybe 7 or so minutes has been all in favour of Wales in terms of that position. They started off with only about 28%. That is going to be the advantage for our side against Thomas Gasho. And thanks for the great commentary, Wales Forever. Says been there. A very few penalties, which is good, says Julian. And also, things are not going well for Argentina, says Hanger Rat. And there's wrong with Jaco Peyper, South Africa, Cape Town. Or what's wrong with Jaco Peyper? So he did end up with the calf injury earlier on. He tried to avoid when Argentina were running straight at him. He did a little jump to the side, and I think he kind of twisted it, kind of put it awkwardly. What happens if they run out of refs? They will probably find more. And I would say even with that injury of Jaco Peyper, if they didn't already have a whole heap of referees at the ground, which I believe they still would have, they may have even called an extra one just in case to the ground because of it. And also we have got there, has a Javo shown up yet? Not that I know of. That ref is biased, says Mark Smith. Which one? Jaco or Carl? That one, that was clear offside against Argentina. Very lopsided quarterfinals. Says on the fly, like overall for every match on the fly or just certain games, would you say? We've got a few that are quite close in the betting odds, but the kick gets gone over from Dan Bigger after the penalty out in front. So that will now make the score 10 points to 0 in favour of the Welsh. Argentina need points on the board, and soon, says Kerr. And also, I hope Jaco Peyper blows the game fairly and not favour any team, says Desmond. Although now it's Carl Dixon due to Jaco's injury. It does mean that we've got a different referee in charge. And Nigel has to be there, says Gus. You think he's going to make... Yeah, well, to be fair, he'd be there for a Welsh game, wouldn't it? Or wouldn't he? You do it well, mate, says Cliff. It's gone up and under Liam Williams. Unable to clean that ball up for Argentina. So now back in position for Los Pumas. One of their first lots of possession. They just need to get a few phases together. They haven't really touched the ball in the last 10 minutes. Liam Williams now inside of his 22. Argentina went for that kick in behind. Doesn't work out for them. And now Liam Williams returning with a big boot of his own, going across. Mateo Carreras breaks through the tackle, attempted Josh Adams. Out to the left-hand side. Run forward from Thomas Lavanini. We've currently seen an extra 200 kicking metres from the Argentines. So seriously, though, what happens if they run out of referees because they pull hamstrings? Says Aiden, they will find more referees. If they've got the player pool that they have throughout this Rugby World Cup, that was a very flat pass from Nick Tompkins. They will find refs. Don't worry about it. They will be able to find more time. That's going to be now another penalty going the way of Wales. Hands on the ground there from Lucio Cinti. And I knew that Dan Bigger would be pivotal. Yeah, it's a massive inclusion for the Welsh to have him back for this game. Boomers lack support in the ruck. So Jaco is injured. When last did that happen to a ref, says Desmond? I can think of it happening in the sevens, I think it was last year, but in Union it's been quite a while. Well, good there, let's be honest, but people don't give two hoots about this game or England versus Fiji. It's about the top half. Says Darren, it depends a little bit. Like, I know that there is a lot of talk about those two games between New Zealand and Ireland, South Africa, France. But in terms of stylistic matchups, I feel like these two matches are pretty awesome as well. Like, these two sides, we know how even they can be. 5 more members gifted, says Dylan there. It's going to be thrown over the top. Julian Montoya goes straight over the top of Dan Bigger there. We all go like this. We all go like this. There we go. Now space opening up down the middle of the field. There's those numbers looking like they're playing flag football. Says Scrumless. Yeah, it's going to be, I guess, very telling in terms of who's doing a lot for the Welsh players, because whoever's still got their number intact more than likely means that they haven't taken a lot of contact throughout the first half. There's another knock on from Argentina, this time from Marcos Kremer, the man who has put it down. And come on, Argentina, you got to win a first of 4 Southern Hemisphere teams to the semis. I said northern teams home, says Gordon. And also, link to watch it live, please, says Timothy. So your best bet to be able to find it would be on the Rugby World Cup website, because from there you'll be able to see your where to watch options depending on whereabouts you are in the world, because it does differ, or does depend on whereabouts you are. Awful pass, says Mikhail. Yeah, it's a bit too flat so far for Kanduiza, though. He has been anything but flat. 66 metres carried throughout this first little while. We can see there Pablo Matera with the knee brace and the shin on. Hopefully, he will be back to rugby soon, although I believe he will be missing the rest of this Rugby World Cup, which is hugely unfortunate for him. The question is it just this game that he's missing, or is it going to be perhaps a little bit of a bigger stretch? Now, going off to the right-hand side, Liam Williams goes out to Lewis Rees-Zammit. Once Again, opting to hang on to that ball driven backwards by Mateo Carreras. I've already mentioned those two both scoring themselves a try. And they actually scored 3 of them last week. Now Thomas, cross to Ryan Elias, I believe that is. Doing well at the moment, Wales, in terms of that handling. And that's probably been the difference maker so far between the two sides. The fact that Wales have been able to hang on to that ball, whereas Argentina have put it down just a few too many times. 25 minutes through, there's another advantage. I believe that was for a tackle off the ball. George North goes through. Passes just behind Adams. How's Argentina's discipline looking? I know it's been somewhat questionable at this World Cup. Says Marvin, it certainly looked a little bit worse in the last maybe 10 or so minutes, taking the player out penalty against Thomas Lavanini. Good morning there in New Zealand. All of my mate looking very handsome. Go Wales. Says Willie there. Welcome in, mate. Who's watching it? Says BSD. So the crowd are not happy with the new referee, Carl Dixon. I mentioned that he is a little bit more, I guess you could say, pedantic's not the right word, but he is a little bit more eagle-eyed in terms of what happens in the breakdown, what happens around it. Channel 9 has stopped broadcasting now. The Wallabies are out. No good for any Welsh in Australia, says Tora. See, that's pretty poor from Channel 9, isn't it? Like, at the end of the day, playoff games are playoff games. Like, everyone who watched this World Cup, even if you're supporting Australia, would still watch at least one of the quarterfinal matchups, I believe. Yeah, a bit of a shame that they aren't broadcasting it. They are just showing Liam Williams again. He has, for me, been one of the strongest Welshmen out on the field at the moment. Only 10 now. Wales are going to score another try, says Joe D. And also, can she get more? And maybe my lawnmower back, says Stefan. Looks like now Majos Crema. I believe he's taken a knock, so he will be taken off the field. But Argentina managed to steal it at line-out time, but it's taken straight back by, it was Aaron Wainwright. Argentina in the breakdown, getting over the ball. Mateo Carreras wins the penalty for Los Pumas, just out from their own goal line. Maybe red is the ref's favourite colour, says Hangarat, and Dylan are going to need the quicker ball to Zamet, says Jimbo. They might have been in Nine's contract. Or might have been in Nine's contract, says Gus, and Kiwi lads are going to keep us entertained for the Rugby World Cup, says Justin. And we have still got another 7 games remaining, ladies and gents. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are currently sitting only 50 away from the 37,600, which was the goal by the end of the first half. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Carl with a K. Certainly is for Carl Dixon's spelling. And also, Lavanini is such a liability, an average player. I wouldn't risk him in the big games, says Justin. So they have got Mateo Salimano, will be coming off the bench. In this game, the Argentine fans trying to get behind their side. Nicely taken by Juan Matan Gonzalez. Now 40 metres out from the line. Lucio Cinti. Tackle well by Wainwright, who wins the penalty straight back for the Welsh. This will be from 45 metres out as well, so this is definitely in the kicking range of Dan Bigger. We've got their stance border showing it. If you want to do the free 30-day thing, says Hangarat. And also, you've got a good voice for TV, says Darren. So thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciated. What happened to Yako? So it was a calf injury. So he jumped to the side when the Argentines were on attack, and he kind of tweaked it a little bit. Wasn't able to chase after Dan Bigger when he was able to score his try. So he did go off. Carl Dixon comes on. And then alongside that, we see Jordan Way go into the touch judge officiating side of things. Go Wales, go, says says BSD. And yes, I said Wales are boring, but they win, says Jody. And Warren just knows how to play knockout rugby, says Lyle. And also, hola, como estas, says Eduardo. Doing very well. Missing that one, Dan Bigger. Not quite getting it right, hooking it away to the left-hand side. So now both Dan Bigger and Emiliano Boffelli missing at least one kick throughout this contest. Argentina and South Africa final, says Dwayne. And it is a possibility. The way that the draw sets up, those two sides could meet in the final of the World Cup. What's up with the New Zealand coach not wanting wanting the New Zealand coach in the stands, says George. It's interesting. I don't know whether or not it's actually a written rule or whether it's just what Fozzie wants. In this case, it was not a good kick, says Gus. Yeah, did end up hooking it Just a little bit, another knock on there from Argentina at the moment. Their handling under the high ball has been costing them. Someone mentioned earlier on that Wales were aimlessly kicking, but at the moment, anytime they'll put that ball up, Argentina have been knocking it on, which then gives the Welsh that territory advantage. This game has gone very stop-start. Lately, ref or players says, okay, it's certainly a little bit of both. I mean, we've seen a lot more penalties and a lot more knock-ons in the last little while. Update time says Michael, so at the moment, we are sitting at 29 minutes through this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Disappointing from Bigger, says Sean. Hello? I think Wales on attack overall here. They'll still be very impressed with what they've been able to do. 6 line breaks throughout the first 30 minutes of the game. George, it's because the players will be distracted. Try to curry flavour early, says David. Now, too much movement there at scrum time, both going down, so we will have another reset. In fact, that's the first scrum reset we have seen throughout this contest. I don't think South Africa will make it as our most, or out to our home team, very unlikely. Wait, I don't think South Africa will make is out to our home team, very unlikely. The part in the middle is confusing me. So you don't think South Africa are going to win, or you think South Africa won't get knocked out, Chronic? And All Blacks versus France is the finale, says David. And yeah, also a possibility. I will show while we have got the little bit of a scrum reset here, ladies and gentlemen. This is how the quarterfinals, or the semi-finals, sorry, can shape up. So after this weekend, we've only got 4 more games of rugby, 2 next week. The winner of this game will face off against the winner of Ireland versus New Zealand. That is the next game tonight, kicking off in only 3 hours, 30 minutes, and we will be live on the channel covering that one as well. But Wales decide to go to the left-hand side here with Lewis Rees-Zammit a long way off his wing. Should mention only 14 days. That's a knock-on from Will Rowlands. Another mistake made by the Welsh. Seems like the handling is really starting to come into it. Who's got the ball, bro? Says Thomas. So it was the Welsh scrum. 6 handling errors each, though. We have Gadea Hamish to set the suit you would wear on a date, says Penny Lane. Probably not, because I don't really go on any dates, because I have a terrible sleep schedule. I think I've spent more time asleep during the day than awake throughout this Rugby World Cup. Although, to be fair, I spent all of today awake. I did actually play cricket, believe it or not. Not very well, but I did play it. So I'm running off about 2 hours sleep in the last 24 hours. So we'll see how we go as the game does progress, or throughout the evening as it does progress. We have got the, I still think the New Zealand coach will be much better for the ABs, or the new New Zealand coach, says George. Now going off to the left-hand side, Thomas Cubelli gets it to Carreras, tries the low kick, does sit up with Liam Williams. Does return fire. The territory battle at the moment is definitely going in favour of Wales. And Argentina have to decide whether or not they want to adapt to that running game of rugby. Looks like that's actually left alone by Argentina. It works out there though. Bounces up for Juan Cruz Malea. Now Cubelli going off to the left. What's happened here? A little bit of obstruction. No, it's offside against Thomas Cubelli. The crowd are livid with some of the decisions that have been taking place here over the last little while. Got there, Ireland versus New Zealand is going to be tough for me. I support both teams, says Scrumless. And also hope Argentina wins, says Donovan De Silva. And there as well, but now Dan Bigger. Kicking this one towards the touchline. You sleep as much as Margaret Thatcher, says Good Story Bro. Please stay awake, no commentary won't work well, says Richard. No, we will be fine throughout these live streams. Only 4 games this weekend rather than 8, and that is why I could afford to play in the matchup. And also that rabbit jump, says McCallum. Come on, Wales, says Ridian. And there as well, but there's a lot of frustration in terms of what has happened throughout this first half for the Argentines. And also, does Penny want a date? Says Kerr there. Now it's going to be overthrown by Wales. Oh, Mateo Carreras. He's jumped into that, hoping to get the penalty. Now, that is one of those rules in rugby at the moment that I feel like referees do look at differently. Some will call that as a penalty, others will not. But Carl Dixon says play on. Now Lewis Rees-Zammit driven towards the touchline. 34 minutes down in this contest at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, and Rowlands. Now moving it to 45 metres out, but it's another knock-on from Rowlands in the breakdown. New Zealand win the World Cup on Indian soil, imagine that. Says Chronic. And also, if the All Blacks beat Ireland, they would go all the way. It'll be hard to beat the Irish. Remember, they did beat the All Blacks twice in their own backyard, says Cly. And also, I can see our first half ending with Argentina scoreless, says Kerr. But I guess it's that big question of whether or not there is going to be that late comeback from Los Pumas in this game. But Angry Mate says Stefan, and also don't worry. Hamish was awake over 23 hours last year. He was yawning away and still commentating faithfully, says Amanda there. Yeah, some of our World Cup sleep schedules has been completely destroyed. And, you know, it's one of those ones that after the World Cup, of course, you think, oh, we'll go back to the normal sleeping schedule. But then we've got the URC, which we are covering, ladies and gentlemen. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. That ball has gone way out the side, the penalty to Argentina, now 45 metres from their own line. I think they just mentioned, okay, one's angle, so that's against Gareth Thomas being penalised for going in through the side. I forgot where Penny is from, but I guess South Africa, most people are. And also we have got there, if that arm was out in another game instead, Bill's friend's team says audio and Doyne Late, who was the referee. So it was Jaco Piper, but then due to his injury, it then became Carl Dixon. So he is now the main man in charge. Little bit of a change. I watched the Argies in the second half. I might be a little too late though. Says Richard. And also, hope Fiji beats the lights out of England. Samoa got cheated, says Lewis Say. And Wales surely got the upper hand for possession, says Kerr. Well, it's interesting because throughout their first 15 minutes, they had a lot less of the ball. But now as we sit, it is actually still 49% for Wales, 51% for Argentina. So they have managed to bring it right back, but it's still surprising just the amount of ball that they really had throughout that first half. Or the first 10 or so. The ref isn't fair against Argentina, says Zan. And also substitute ref with the nonsense calls. Now rolling more here for Argentina. It has gone quite drastically backwards, but the ball does pop out. Thomas Kubeli goes to Julian Montoya. A chance here for the Argentines to score their first tries in this contest. Rush defence from the Welsh. It's going to be play on. Kubeli goes across now to Thomas Lavanini. Making a low tackle on him was Thomas Francis. Argentina, when they're inside of the 22 of Wales, they have looked dangerous. Oh, that was a bit of a juggle from Juan Matan Gonzalez, but manages to hang on to it. Kubeli now across to Thomas Gasho. Now Kubeli, rush defence on him. It's going to be the advantage for offside. Short ball from Carreras. Matthias Maroni, I should mention, he is also on the field here. You know, I think it was the HIA a little bit earlier on. And also I support the Box, but I like Ireland and France because they have not won a World Cup yet, says Gary. And the thing is, theoretically, right, we could have semi-finals with all sides that haven't won a Rugby World Cup before. I don't think, no, there's not a possibility of every semi-finalist having World Cups won before because neither of these sides have been able to walk away with one. But yeah, it's interesting with the 4 matches, the fact that we will either see sides that have won World Cups and are ready to try and get themselves their 4th or their 2nd in England's case. The All Blacks have a different mentality when it comes to the big matches in the World Cup, says Ahmad. Argentina now, with 2 minutes remaining in this first half, have decided that they want the 3 points rather than the 7. Try and close that gap that a little bit more. And the kick has gone over. That will now make the score 10 points to 3. Springboks love being the underdogs, says Dwayne. Yeah, it doesn't happen too often, but when it does, the Springboks, normally when they step up the most, a little bit similar to Fiji in that regard, of when they are down in terms of the odds, that is when they play their best rugby. When they come in as favourites, they do actually struggle for the Fijians. So up against the English, it could be relatively close game. Halftime bet on Argentina could give a good return right now, says Kerr. Very true, although those extra 3 points might help them out just that little bit more as we head towards that second half. But 1 minute remaining. It will be now Matthias Maroni. Big, massive boot into the Welsh 22. The ball's still running away from Dan Bigger. And now has to go for the kick himself. Does decide not to go for the touchline. Instead, kicking it down the middle of the field. Here comes Santiago Carreras. Stepping through 2 defenders. 15 metres out from the line. Argentina now with 3 points on the board. Seem like they're ready to go and try and get it to even before the end of the half. Now, Francisco Gomez Cordella. Argentina, 22 from the line. Numbers here. Matias Marroni, big landing on his back there for Nick Tompkins, who is slow to get back to his feet. Knock on. No, it's gone backwards, they've said, so it is play on. Emiliano Boffelli. Missed tackle by Rowlands, tackle by Tommy Reffel, and Wainwright in the breakdown has been told don't touch it. Now Kubeli going to the left-hand side. Thomas Gasho hits it up once more. Thomas Lavanini again. To the left, or in fact, they'll go right this time. For Argentina, couldn't quite find that pass. It is a knock-on advantage in favour of Wales. This may even be a deliberate knockdown by the Welsh. They've lost about maybe 15 metres or so at the moment, Argentina. Hi, my mate. We'll come and look you up when we come and visit New Zealand again, says Billy. And also, this game is still anyone, says Robert Wood. Exactly right. And remember to add Instagram, says Curran there. That is true. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to check out the Kiwi Lads Instagram. Nice run from Carreras, but he's put it down. Worldwide, but Scotland is home, says Kerr. And there as well, looks like Carreras has stayed down. There's about to be maybe some push and shove. Lavanini is charging at someone. Oh, this was silly from Argentina because they have gone in. And I believe that was almost enough for Argentina to get their penalty reversed. In this case, Michael Cheika is shouting into the headset saying, boys, do not do that. So unfortunately, there is going to be more than likely the penalty against Wales initially, but because of the reaction of the Argentine forward pack, there is a chance that they do have that penalty reversed. We have got their lost 3 points, says Gus. Penalty for Argentina, says John. Tomorrow night is going to be a long 80 minutes for the South African supporters, says Rudy, and that's a red, says Nacho Gamer. Okay. Yeah, see, that's done from Argentina. So they've said that there was the penalty for offside in favour of Wales, although they will check this to see whether or not... Oh, actually, so Josh Adams hits him late. Lavanini charges like he's a bull to rip a player down to the turf, but I think that Josh Adams, they might have to check what he's done there again. This weekend will be an awesome advert for rugby, says Mike. Okay, they're going upstairs for the TMO. It was a late shot from Josh Adams. He's got a yellow card for something similar to that before. It might have been the British and Irish Lions tour, if I'm correct. But they will have another look. I'll take that back, says Gus. And also, no ball red card, says Nacho. And TMO is such an easy job, says John. I disagree. I think it's one of the hardest jobs out there because no matter what you say, people are not going to be happy with it. Yeah, those hungry pits are quite warm, says Sign. Also, wow, says Jody. And also yellow, says Richard. But yeah, I feel like Josh Adams here could end up being a yellow card. We're going to see the replay. So Carreras, he did drop the ball. Then from there, yeah, that's a cheap shot from Josh Adams. And a really dumb thing to do at this stage of the match. You're up by 7 points. Yes, Thomas Lavanini running in the way that he did is not recommended and is really not ideal, but you cannot go around shoulder charging people when they do not have the ball. Josh Adams saw it as an opportunity to take the cheap shot on Thomas Kubeli, and it may mean now that his team is going to be with less than 15 on the field for the next 10 minutes at least. Oh, that's a big call from Carl Dixon. He said he's seen an arm wrap from Josh Adams. Nah, that's not an arm wrap. That's a shoulder. But it is going to remain as a penalty here. Ladies and gents. So Josh Adams extremely lucky. Wow. Interesting. I don't see it as a shoulder charge, says Carl Dixon. And what an idiot, says Jimbo. And says Mikal. Chickens will win Springboks, says Punisher. But the Argentine crowd, if they didn't already dislike the referee, they certainly dislike him that little bit more now. That was a yellow, says Mikal. I agree. It was off the ball. Little bit of a, that's the thing. They said it was an arm wrap, but really it was just him getting his shoulder in position to be able to drive it into him. Carl Zamora, and I said that 20 minutes ago, and it remains true, says Hanger Rat. And also, evening, Hamish. I hope you're enjoying the rugby. Go the men from the south, go the All Blacks later, says Joss Pike. And also, we have got there, leave the ref alone. You are not on the moment, says Goldberg, but that kick has gone over. And now makes the score at halftime 10 points to 6. 45-minute first half as well, I should mention, to go a little bit longer. I think the ref was smoking his socks before he came on, says Dylan. And also fall all the way down the steps, says Audio on Bullafon Fiji, says YouTube user. Welcome in, hope you are doing extremely well. Neither side out of this contest at this point, ladies and gents. So an exciting second half just around the corner. How is the ref the only one who didn't think it was a yellow, says Mitch. Although it had to come from the TMO as well in terms of that decision-making. They didn't really have it from a different angle. So that might have been something that did help in that favour. And also Pumas will be happy, says Robert. And also 47 minutes like a football match, says Joe D. And also Rory, says Fernando. But looking through at some of the stats for halftime, ladies and gentlemen, so far the most points scored throughout this game have come from Dan Biggett, as he was able to get the one try that we have seen throughout this fixture. He's a bit lonely down the bottom. He wouldn't mind a teammate or two popping up. In the second half, Tommy Reffel, he made the most tackles throughout their half, sitting 11 tackles more than any other player. 89 metres carried for Liam Williams. I feel like he has really stepped up throughout this contest, and the most carries over the game line is actually Lewis Rees-Sammet with the 6. Wales capitalised on one positive play, and also we have a Proteas versus Black Caps get together here when they meet. Well, when's that game? That's only a couple of days away, isn't it? If I'm not too wrong there. I bet Carl's a high school geography teacher, and lots of controversy period, says Kurt, and unconscious bias, says Kurt. And yeah, are you saying that I'm being biased, or Carl Dixon was being biased? And Hamish, you're the GOAT, thanks for the commentary, says GB, and come on Argentina, says Ian Foster there. But Wales definitely having the stronger half when it came to those kicks, going with the up and under, and that certainly was something that I believe they'll go to in the second half, just like they did throughout the first. They had 43% possession throughout the contest. How was that wrapping? Like Mockingbok fan says Punisher, and also that suit, or that sure is Bill's friend, sitting there, Mr. TMO, you listen to the boss. And Adam's tackle was 50-50, yellow purely because he attempted the arm wrap, says Robinson. And goats aren't biased, says Fluffy. And also you need a girlfriend Punisher, says Robert Wood. If there's some of those going, I'd take one as well if that's a possibility. Although not during the Rugby World Cup. As you guys know, rugby comes first, and that is the rule that we will stick with. But looking at the running meters, 338 so far from the Welsh, having the 14 defenders beat them throughout that first 40 minutes. 282 meters carried from Argentina. It's been that counter-attack where they have been able to make a few of those extra meters, and they've beaten 16 defenders throughout that first half. Lineouts for the Welsh have been shaky, only getting 2 out of the 5 correct, so they certainly won't want that ball to go out. In the next half, we've seen 2 lineout steals from the Argentines. They have given away 5 penalties, and Wales have given away the 6. I'd like the Pumas to win, says Ta. And also we have got there, that was a WWE spear to the chest, or WWE spear to the chest, says Amy. And I got my dad a gift voucher for his favourite curry restaurant, phoned up at 4 p.m, 4:24. Got a message from my dad saying thank you. That was a real surprise. He really likes their food, says no mum there. And ref's last name says a lot about his heritage, says hang a rat in Wales. Without this referee will lose, says Fernando. Although we've got to, of course, take it as it comes, because at the end of the day, he was not the referee that was starting this match. It was Jaco Paper, so now they do have to adapt to the different ruling. Look there, kia ora, Hamish. How do you look after your voice? Do you just drink water? Have you ever lost it from commentating too much? Do you have any thoughts on Antoine Dupont's return? So yeah, I just drink water throughout the weekends. I have lost it to the point of almost not being able to talk. And I believe it was the KFC Big Bash about 2 years ago, around Christmas time. I couldn't talk pretty much at all. I sounded terrible. But yeah, luckily that is the only time that's happened. Like, I've kind of had it shaky at times, or a little bit croaky, but not too bad. Other than that, and then the last question, what do I think of Antoine Dupont's return? It's going to be make or break, I think, for the French, because to put him in their starting lineup is a risk that will either have reward or have repercussions for this French team. But I'm very curious to see how he goes up against the physical Springboks. Back, thanks to the Kiwi lads. I want to know what's happening. Sharing streaming app already full, says Richard. And also, Wales were lucky that the ref was sensible, saw foul for what it was, says Amon. And also, don't get married, Amish. Girls are a lot more fun as a girlfriend, says Gary. And they can sub the refs. We cannot lose you, Hamish, says it was Dylan, Mr. Unicorn. I wonder if Yako would have given a yellow, says, oh, it's an interesting point, but I guess it's a tricky one to know, isn't it? Fun fact, though, throughout that first half, the penalty count is actually still in favour of Argentina, giving away the 5 compared to the 6 of the Welsh. I think we've seen a lot more knock-ons since the change of referee. Unless you get paid by YouTube, right, says David Vickers. We do to a certain extent, although as you guys know, or some of you know, any money we make off the channel, we put straight back into the channel to try and improve the live streams, to pay for live streaming software and everything along those lines. So that is why I work a full-time job during the week, so that I am able to afford to work or to do YouTube on the weekends. And good commentary. Are you doing this long? Says Stephen. So we have had our YouTube channel for about 3 and a bit years now. We pretty much started just a little bit after the last Rugby World Cup. So it's been pretty awesome being able to cover all 40 games that have taken place so far, mainly because we didn't get to do that last time. And if we had started a year earlier, like, it would have been an awesome competition to cover. And now that we've been able to do every single game here, it's been pretty cool. Definitely because we've built up a community of you guys in the chat. Each and every game, no matter who's playing, you show up. And yeah, it is greatly appreciated. And at the end of the day, I always say it's not the same when you guys aren't here. And Pumas will score 2 tries second half and can win this one, says Andre. How you make, says Rudy. Doing very well. Of course, we've got one more game just around the corner in 3 hours' time. It will be Ireland versus New Zealand, ladies and gentlemen. That is a massive game taking place. What's with the uniform numbers on the Wales jersey so cheap? Says Joe Ritchie. Yeah, it's certainly not what they would have been wanting for the quarterfinals, that is for sure. I don't know what's happened compared to their group stage matches. I don't know if they got a new designer or something along those lines. But yeah, the kits are falling apart, unfortunately. You are amazing, says Rudy. And also, we have good there. You're a beast. Thank you so much, says Anashio. Thank you very much, mate. And good odds for Argentina to win, says Hanoi. So currently, as we sit in terms of those betting odds, ladies and gentlemen, Argentina are underdogs, of course. They are only down by the 4 points, though, so it is still anyone's game. The Argentines currently $4 underdogs. So, yeah, that is actually higher than they started in this matchup. Of course, Brian Argentinian meat, best in the world, says John, and Ireland fans are so confident it's making me giddy, says David. Tell you what, it's going to be a big game. We actually have an hour and a bit of build-up for that matchup, mainly because there's so much to talk about. Looking at it, seeing their head-to-head high horse, says Chloe, welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. What country is the replacement ref Carl Dixon from? So he is from England in this case. And I'm nervous for our boys. Ireland are so slick, says Haka Harvey. One thing's for sure, it's going to be a great game. And I think everyone would agree, like, depending on what All Black side shows up in terms of their lineup, because they've got some world-class players in there. But if the All Blacks don't turn up for that game, Ireland, their backline, and their forwards, their ruck speed, there's so much to look at. They're out on it. How sad that they have to resort to blatant theft by putting the neighbouring referee, England, the truth, as they are sad with another referee. Other way, or they would lose by far, says Gabriel. And hi, Hamish, says Chloe. So yeah, welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. Have you ever ended up chatting to Carol on DMs? Says Rudy. I have not, no. Not that I know of anyway. Anyone who does want to check out the Instagram, though, for the Kiwi lads, be sure to give it a look. It is in the pinned comment, but also, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to follow us on Instagram. And yeah, flick us a message. It doesn't have to be, well, mainly rugby related, I guess, but we reply to all messages anyway, no matter how weird they are. Love the Seventh Hemisphere bias, says Brian Evans. It wasn't biased, it was just me saying that if the All Blacks turn up, they'll be extremely strong. I mentioned, though, the Irish ruck speed, the best in the world at the moment. Their backline with Ringrose and Bundyaki, that is the dream combo at the moment for the mix-up in the middle. We have got there, or I could just be a weird video on me. That is true as well. We have received a few of those, and some very good ones along the way. We have got the Argentina needs to win, says Alan. And also we have got there, Vamos, Vamos, Los Pumas, says Alan. And there as well, and sorry to say this, how's this a quarterfinals? Definitely both teams' last game in the World Cup, says Mr. JJ. Although, whoever wins this game, of course, will be going through to the next matchup where they will face off against the winner of Ireland versus New Zealand. In this case, streaming Ireland, says Natalie. We will be doing the live commentary for that game as well, yes. And we are going to be starting at around, I believe it's 1 hour, 30 minutes time is when we are starting up that live stream. Oh, I know yellow card because Bill Beaumont is sitting next to the Prince of Wales. And that Welsh prop is given the number on his replacement jersey, the third degree, says Gus. Argentina-Fiji would be a good final, says Hanoi. And it is a possibility with the way that the draws sit. And also, it is time for the ukulele, says Rudy, although it is sitting off to the side, of course, the guitar. But, yeah, it's a bit rusty. I'll be honest, I got a fire going, I got a beer in the hand, and listen to your awesome commentary. Life can't get better, says Gary. And ref wasn't even watching the big screen for the 2 of the 3 replays, says her. And go the Pumas, says Julian, and there as well. But ladies and gentlemen, the second half just about to get back underway. Do let me know who you think will be scoring the first try of the second half. The exact player, currently Dan Bigg, is in a lonely group. He is the only player to have been able to score. I may have seen more, says Kerr. I will have to give them a look. Of course, there's no more Kerr packages on the way, just to check Kerr. I don't need to watch out for the courier this week. Because I've been watching out the window every once in a while because I worry every time I hear a van, I go, oh no, what's going to show up now? And yeah, there's that chair. I read the instructions. It's like a novel, but I'll get through it. It's going to be coming in very soon. Reece Savitt will score first, says Illinois Hamish. You've been so awesome with all this rugby, says Chloe. To be honest, I'm just happy that my voice has been here throughout all the games. I was worried near the start of the competition that it was going to be disappearing at some point throughout this Rugby World Cup, but luckily it is still here. Good commentating has bankrupted me. Sorry, no funds this weekend. Keep it in mind, I'm a full-time artist. Says it was there from Stan Bolson, go Argentina. There's no worries at all, Stan. Just having you here has been absolutely awesome throughout this Rugby World Cup. We've seen a lot of regulars popping in and out. And also, it doesn't seem to matter who is playing at the stage. Not so free-flowing, more reserved. And then the group stages, says Hines. And I think that was going to be the case with probably not just this game, but all of the quarterfinals. I'm trying to organise Kerr packages for the start of the URC, says Kerr. And there as well. I think is that next week that the URC starts, or is it the week after? I think it might be next week that we are going to see the URC firing back up. That is a competition we are planning on covering on the channel, ladies and gents. Also, alongside that, we have got the sevens that will be returning in the near future. Wales is playing bad. And also, we have got the Let's Go Argentina, says Alan, and Ireland do not have the depth and are playing the same players to death, says Derek. I wouldn't say it's because they don't have depth, though. I think it's just because they have found success in the players that they've got. Yes, over this course of the Rugby World Cup, there is a chance that they start to get just a little bit more tired. Oh, there's Dylan Simpson, just changed my YouTube name, says Dylan Mr. Unicorn. And there as well, I actually didn't realise that it was you, Dylan Simpson. Someone else who has sent us a few messages talking about, of course, the South African selection, everything along those lines. How is it halftime already? I had the start time. It's 15 minutes ago. I have Dylan on Insta, says Kerr. And yeah, as well. And I, Chloe, says George. And Adam was a yellow card every day of the week, says Albert. Yeah, it was a late shot. Probably lucky to get away with it there. Looks like Dan Bigger. He's still got the 10 intact on the back of his jersey, which is something we haven't seen too much of for the Welsh players. A lot of players missing parts, if not all of their numbers at this stage of the matchup. We have got there, hopefully, says Mark Smith. So, yeah, do let me know, ladies and gents, who you think will be the first try score. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are 21 away from our goal by the end of the half. So if you do want to help us get there, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Yes, Smithy, says Alan. Go the box, says Blake. And also Gatlin is doing a good job with Wales. And sorry, guy, I made the mistake. Thought the game was only just about to start. Says Charles, no worries at all. It's great to have you all here, though, for this fixture. We have got Ireland versus New Zealand just around the corner. We will also be covering that game. And good on you, mate. Good to see you still going. Good luck for the ABs tonight. Says it was Oko JB. And my grandkids will be here for the second half. Says Ta. And also play a rap. What a joke, says Albert. Yeah, it didn't look like there was much of a rap, but the Argentines, they're only 4 points down at the moment. They'll be looking to get back into the contest. If they can score early, I actually mentioned it in the preview of this match on the podcast. I said if Argentina can keep it close to that last 10 to 15 minutes, they are well and truly still in with a shot of winning, but it will be kicked off from left to right. It is Santiago Herreras to get us underway for the second 40 minutes of the Rugby World Cup quarterfinal. Slapped back by Emiliano Boffelli, and Argentina retain possession straight away. Thomas Kubeli now. We're going to go to the left-hand side here for Juan Cruz Malia. Juan Martin Gonzalez tackled well. 40 metres out from the line now for Argentina. I've watched most of this Rugby World Cup with my 75-year-old granddad. I always cherish this Rugby World Cup, says Ian Foster. And yeah, it's one of those ones that the World Cup, it brings a lot of people together. The chat is a perfect example of that. We've had people from all around the world, groups of people watching, and it has been hugely appreciated. You all being here. Thomas Garchot falling awkwardly, but still in position here for the Pumas around the side of the breakdown. Couple extra metres for Fulcando. Here's a pick and go now from Julian Montoya. It's good defence so far from Wales. They haven't missed a huge amount of tackles throughout this Rugby World Cup competition. When they do, it doesn't often lead to another try. It's kicked to behind now, just going into touch. I believe that is going to be off Lewis Rees-Zammit. So Argentina, the option to take this one quickly. They decide against it, though. Have we ever seen the numbers fall off? It's almost like the joke swimming shorts. Their clothes are melting, says David. I don't think I've seen numbers falling off as badly as this Welsh kit. To be honest, stop showing me commercials, Hamish, says Crumpets. Although if you only just started tuning in, you probably did get an ad as like that first one. But I think YouTube have added like during live stream ads now, if I'm not wrong. I don't really know how to change it because, to be honest, I don't know how to do YouTube. I just click live and luckily it works. William Montoya going in nicely to Guido Petty, who fell awkwardly, so hopefully he will be all right, although they have got Matthias Alemano to come off the bench, although ideally they will want to replace Thomas Lavanini. Another advantage in favour of Argentina. Mateo Carreras has been limited in the opportunities he's had. Thomas Kubeli goes off now to Francisco Gomez Cordella, moving to 4 metres out from the line now for the Argentines. Marcos Crema, the big man, driving hard, but Adam Beard just being able to hold him up. So Will Rowland's trying to roll out of that breakdown. He's done well to not give away the penalty. Thomas Lavanini stopped there from, I believe that was actually Dan Bigger, who has got over the ball for the Welsh. They will not quite get the turnover. 6 phases now, just out from the line. They'll go back for another penalty. Are you doing a great job, says Conrad Bo. Thank you very much, mate. It should pay you for having the ads on your live stream, says Dylan. And yeah, I believe that they do have, or I am a monetized channel, so I believe that would equate to something. But as you guys know, everything that we earn off this channel goes straight back into it to try and make the live streams even better. So I think the next thing I mentioned about was the gaming chair, although we have got one that has been sent to us. So we will probably end up going with that one for a little bit. So actually the standing desk is the next thing we're looking at. Wonderful words about yourself and grandfather. Sure as memories, says Chloe. I love Hamish in the show, says Punisher. Thank you very much, mate. But now Emiliano Boffelli lining up the kick. So this will give the Argentines 9 points to only be 1 behind at this stage of the contest. But the kick is good. And the score now will be sitting 10 points to 9. If you have YouTube Prime, no ads, says Rudy there. And penalty Argentina 10 to 9. And Adam High says Blake. And all square now basically says Michael. Yeah, it's anyone's game for this first match of the quarterfinals. And I feel like that's exactly how everyone wanted this to start as well. Have it so close that it's extremely hard to pick a winner. Scoreboard tactics now. It's knockout time. says Jimbo, but deep inside of their own half now, Argentina with the ball in hand. It is Thomas Cobelli. Oshmane had a sun goal Kiwi for the first time today. Next level, says him. They are very nice. I assume that the sun goal ones are in season at the moment, I'd like to think. I haven't really seen too many, though. At the supermarket, we all deserve a cut of the commercial money, says Krampus. Now to the right-hand side. Quick hands, nicely taken by Elliot D, who has made his way onto the field due to the switch of Ryan Elias. And I would say that is because of the lack of lineouts going the way of the Welsh. Now Dan Bigger going with the kick-up high. A marking opportunity here for Argentina, and Juan Cruz Malia is underneath it. Manages to do well. I'm in India. Sony Sports Channel just said there's technical issues at halftime, says Bryce. And next level Kiwi accent, says Eric there. And this is a tough game. What a weekend ahead, says Mike. Juan Cruz Malia making sure all his teammates were behind him before he boots this one downfield into touch. Be roughly on the halfway line. They put the numbers back on the Welsh jerseys, says Dylan. But yeah, I've never seen so many jerseys falling apart in the first half in terms of those numbers. So I don't know whether or not they went with a different manufacturer for that last matchup, or for this match, I should say. We don't need a medic. He's just doing his shoelaces, says Carl Dixon. So the play will continue now. Elliot D. And don't read into the past results between these two sides. AB's and Ireland. This is a whole new ball game. Go the All Blacks, go Argentina, says Zion there. And there's a point debate. France deliberately playing DuPont to force a rear card and a semi-final spot. Your thoughts there, Stan? Conspiracies, I'd say that is. Once again, it's pretty much what has happened in every game for the South Africans throughout this Rugby World Cup. Sometimes it's them who have got the conspiracy. Other times it's the opposition who's got the conspiracy, but yeah, in this case, I think it's just DuPont. They want him to be playing because of his quick passing. Even though Luku, Phil hasn't done too badly in his last little while. Looks like there's a bit of an injury here for Wales, though. We'll keep an eye on him. But going off to the left-hand side, Wales only designed the jersey to last the group stage. Nobody expected them to be needing it after that. Penalty to Argentina, though, on the halfway line. I think that's Juan Martin Gonzalez. Liam Williams is shaking his head on the ground. He is not happy at the moment. I'm not too sure what hit it was. I think he might just be winded, though, rather than injured in this case. We have good there when the Box beat France tomorrow. I wonder if we will have the French support until the end when we lift the trophy the fourth time, says George. Sounds like they are checking the TMO here, ladies and gentlemen. Or are they? Nope. Looks like Emiliano Boffelli. He's going to line up the kick from 55 metres straight out in front here. So I guess it's a big boot, but if he gets it right, we'll give Argentina the lead for the first time in this game. Bulls will have a good side in 2024, says Punisher. And George Like says Stan Paulson. And the Proteas versus the Black Caps is the final, says John. Yeah, both sides doing very well throughout the early stages of their Rugby World Cup campaign. What a kick, says Mikkel. So we are a little bit behind. So I haven't actually seen the kick as of yet. But I would assume it goes over if you have said what a kick. And don't get me wrong, not saying Wales haven't been a totally different side to pre-Rugby World Cup, but nobody thought they would qualify, says Kerr. Now Emiliano Boffelli to line up the kick. And it's curling from right to left, just enough juice on it. And now Argentina, for the first time in this game, will be ahead. And Hamish, how come you started the All Blacks and Island stream so early today, says M, mainly because anytime we've done an hour build-up when either the All Blacks or Ireland have played, it hasn't been enough time to be able to talk through everything that we want to. So, yeah, I had to go with 90 minutes for that game just so that we would squeeze enough in to be able to talk about everything that we want to before the match takes place. And I always find that when we start talking just before a game, the time just flies by. So, yeah, that is why we are so early with that start time. Stephen has said, sadly, South African are all about conspiracies. Always someone else's fault if we lose. Time to get over that, says Stephen there as well. It's outside of the 10. Massive boot there from Argentina. Great one from Santiago Carreras. We have got the South Africa versus Ireland in the finals. What I'm hoping for, says Rudy. You're a lifesaver for people in cars, mate. Thank you, says Amanda. Thank you very much there'll be any on this live stream. We have had people from all around the world, and I guess people traveling from place to place watching the streams as well, which has been pretty awesome. We've even had someone on a plane as well. We have good there, not much to talk about, Hamish. ABs are going to cause Ireland all kinds of headaches. Says Hanger at. Yeah, we've got key players to look through. Selection stat. Oh, it was almost an elbow to the head from one of the Welshmen to another. Now rolling more on the halfway line. Thomas Williams, I should mention, has made his way onto the field to replace Gareth Davis. Nicely taken by Emiliano Boffelli. Taken in the air by Josh Adams. Could have been a penalty. I think they're trying to say that Adams went up for that ball as well. South African here says Kredi. And also this game is a very tight, close game, says BJ. Save your voice for later, Hamish. I have a feeling it's going to be intense, says David. It certainly will be. First of 4 quarterfinals taking place in this Rugby World Cup. Only 7 games remaining after this one is finished till the end of the Rugby World Cup. Kicking battle once again goes high. Nicely taken by Liam Williams. 40 metres out from his line. Not able to contest in the breakdown. 15 minutes in. Dan Bigger looking for the touchline. Starting to play the territory game here by the looks of it, Wales. Nobody can afford any cards. In these games, discipline is so important, says Chloe. Exactly right, because it's not so much as well, like, of course, getting a game or getting a card in one of these games is massive because of the fact that if you get one, your team is one man short and perhaps even one man short for the rest of the contest. But got to remember as well, if your team do win, you could be suspended if it is a rare card. We saw Ethan de Groot for the ABs. He's only just coming back now from his suspension earlier on. Red cards in this competition. We've seen a few in the earlier stages. Need to update the score on the screen, says Sean, although it is correct at the moment. It is 12 points to 10 after 51 minutes. So it is bang on at this stage. It's going to be put high from Thomas Kubeli. Wales losing, says Honcho. They certainly are at the moment, but they have got the potential of getting themselves back into the contest. Listening from Vietnam, says Mr. Silwood. And also, when you talk badly about my team, and then I will be arrogant about my team, says George. And Chloe makes me suspicious, says Krampus. And Bigger breathing hard ribs, says Jimbo. I mean, this game has been played at a frantic speed. Thomas Williams now puts the ball high once more, down towards the halfway line, trying to line up that kick. No one quite able to take it cleanly. It's knocked on by Emiliano Boffelli. Here comes the thirst, says Chloe, and it might be that Pumas are a second half team, says Hanger Rat. And they normally are, because if they can stay in a game for their first half and they can stay close in a contest, later on in a game, that is normally when we start to see them up the intensity and when they stay just that little bit more in the fight. Whereas for Wales, I feel like they are also a second half team. So that makes this last 28 minutes extremely intriguing for who will be able to build that momentum. Won't be able to watch Springboks or France all year tomorrow because we are scheduled to have load shedding, aka no electricity, says Landy Bear. Sorry to hear that. I thought that for Springbok games they normally don't have load shedding on. Quick in the second half, says Chloe. And also I have more hopes on New Zealand on the cricket than the rugby, says Aiden. Yeah, New Zealand actually going very well so far in the Cricket World Cup, getting themselves that big win and their opening fixture. We have also got a new member on the channel. It is Colette. Thank you very much. But in that button that is going to be knocked on there from Wales. So now a knock-on advantage for Argentina, who are now 42 metres out from the line. Loose ball picked up nicely by Juan Cruz Malia. Now Montoya goes in behind to Santiago Herreras. Herreras better than rugby, bruh, says Aiden. I mean, I actually played cricket today. Fun fact. That's a knock-on. They will go back for the original knock-on advantage. How do you rate these two teams out of 10? Is the game close because both are playing to their maximum lack of skill? Says Shane Newton. To be honest, I think they match up very evenly. Both sides have had some great moments throughout this game. I think about 30 defenders beaten combined throughout that first half. 16 for the Welsh and 14 for Argentina. Update the score on the screen, says Sean. But it is, at the moment, it is updating as the match wears on. Over there, keep yourselves in portable Wi-Fi charge. South Africa, Cape Town. Amish lopsided draw has resulted in more good games. We have 5 good games with the draw this way. France versus New Zealand, Ireland, South Africa, France versus South Africa, Ireland, New Zealand in a good final. We would only have 3 good games otherwise, says him. I guess that's a good way of looking at it. The fact that we get to see a couple closely contested contests along the way. Likes of England versus Fiji, that has the potential of, because we got to see those two sides just before the Rugby World Cup, and it was such a close game. Fiji getting themselves their first ever win. That adds that little bit more intrigue into that matchup. Fingers crossed for Kane Williamson. And yeah, it does seem like might be struggling to get many more minutes or many more games in for this Rugby World Cup. His injury just seems to still be there, doesn't it? Is this the Southern Hemisphere teams versus the Northern Hemisphere teams in the quarters? It is. Or, sorry, you said it is rather than is it. So yeah, all 4 quarterfinals involve a Southern team versus a Northern team, and every Northern Hemisphere team up till this point in the Rugby World Cup have been undefeated. So looking at the way that the draw could sit, it is going to be the winner of Wales versus Argentina. They will be going head-to-head with the winner of Ireland or New Zealand. Now, that will be a Saturday morning start time next week. Then England or Fiji, they will be taking on the winner of France versus South Africa. So there is a chance that we could see a Rugby World Cup final rematch between England and South Africa if the results do go that way. But for that to happen, of course, the underdogs, South Africa, would have to pull off the upset, which, to be honest, I feel like in terms of, I want to say that should be closer on the betting odds. I don't see South Africa as much of an underdog in that game. Yes, France have the home field advantage, but you're looking at the defending champs who've looked very strong throughout this Rugby World Cup up till date, making the changes. And 9 and 10, of course, we will be looking through at that when that game does take place. We have got there's no load shedding this weekend, and also 32,000 people in attendance for the India versus Pakistan match. What about rugby? I mean, rugby doesn't have a big enough stadium for that, but I assume if you put a World Cup final in front of 2 teams, or had a World Cup final and you had a stadium that big, you would sell it out pretty well. And then looking at the percentages of how many people watch cricket compared to how many people watch rugby, it would be pretty solid. Well, very interesting that the Northern Hemisphere teams are undefeated, says Michael. Yeah, and it's a weird trend, isn't it? Oh, that was a hard head knock for the Welsh Thomas Francis, I think it was, who took the knock. And also maybe after the quarters, the Northern Hemisphere teams won't be unbeaten anymore, says Michael. And the South is the best, says 80 Lab. And another set piece, says Robinson there as well. Now going to the right, although it is going to be the penalty advantage. In fact, a penalty. So going around the side of the breakdown, Eduardo Bello, he's only just made his way onto the field, already given away the early penalty. I like your snake joke. Has to be said, maybe chuckle, says Kerr. And love rugby, although Cricket World Cup held in India, says Hatish. And there as well. And I just saw a great shot of a Puma fan. He carefully swapped his pint swapped his pint to the camera. He then swigged and snapped a pic of the crowd. That's Brill, says Eric. Now Buzz and Velez also onto the field. That is for Thomas Kubeli. So a few early changes being made at the moment. Yeah, there's huge intrigue in terms of whose bench will be able to work well. Big run from Nick Tompkins. Side of the breakdown, Josh Adams taken down nicely. First real chance for Wales in the second half to try and cross the try line. New Zealand will beat Ireland, says Mark Colin-Marias. I'm confused. How's the first round of the semi played between 2 losers? That suggests you can L your quarterfinal to qualify. Please explain, Shot Bro, says Warren. So yeah, pretty much the way that the draw worked in terms of the groups, every side from the Northern Hemisphere was undefeated. Every side from the Southern Hemisphere lost 1 game but still qualified. Changes too early, says Richard. A bit of a mistake there. Liam Williams does well to regather that ball. Big shot on him by Thomas Gusho. Now Thomas Williams sniping run straight through. He'll score the try for Wales. That is their second of the match. Gets them that little bit more of a lead now, or at least gets them the lead. But it is the replacement in Thomas Williams. It's looked strong throughout the second half since making his way onto the field. It was a little bit surprising that he wasn't starting. But now Wales taking the lead back for this contest. We have got their fingers crossed for the Southern Hemisphere domination. Ireland, Fiji, New Zealand, South Africa, says Samantha. And Wales really need the conversion, please, guys, says Jonathan Manson. Although it is straight out in front. Nice, easy one for Dan Bigger, and now makes the score 17 points to 12. Your scoreboard updates before you mention it, says Mr. Fantastic AJ. That is just down to, unfortunately, the delay that Sky Sport have here. Look at there, you're distracted Fluffy. And also over there, India versus Pakistan, world's biggest sporting rivalry. And there. Yeah, I've heard about what happens when those two sides go head-to-head. There's some pretty brutal stuff, depending on who wins those games. We'll get there, nice Wales, says Penny Lane. And also, England will suck in cricket. And rugby, says Aiden. And I say, yes, says Ridian. Oh, did I just hear the TMO, Marius Yonka there? Okay, Domachowski here is on the field for Thomas. Liam Williams looks like he is almost done, although he wants to continue this match. And Tommy Reffel making his way from the field for the Welsh. And that is going to be Christ Chinza to replace him. It's a Ring of Fire Eclipse tonight. His next year, says David Vickers. And making tries with refs' help is an easy win as opposed to penalties, says Charles. And defending terrible defending by the Pumas. Yeah, just left a massive gap round the side of the breakdown. So understandable that Wales were able to pierce their way through. And welcome Stan, says Grumpus. And also Wales over England, says Aiden. So it is going to be kicked up high. Nicely taken by Liam Williams. So that will test out his injury. Who do you think will win the Cricket World Cup? Amish, says Michael. I mean, to be honest, like New Zealand are looking a lot better than I thought that they would throughout their World Cup competition. Although you still got to think that maybe the hosts or one of those sides that are used to those conditions will be able to get themselves the win in the end. And obviously, Black Cat, says Aiden. And Wales are all guys, says Pablo Montero. And ball comes out the back for Thomas Williams. Asking for the penalty, will not receive it. So now has to put this ball high from 30 metres out from his own line. 22 minutes remaining on the clock, and this game's still only split by the 5 points. Argentina taking it nicely with Santiago Herreras just 40 metres out from his line. Tackled low by Lewis Rees-Zammit. Wales haven't missed Falatau, says Eric Davison. Yeah, I think Aaron Wainwright has really done well throughout this game. The same could almost be said about the Argentines. Yes, they'll be missing Pablo Montero, but I think we've seen a pretty decent effort from Fulcando Eza, almost having 100 running metres so far throughout this game. Juan Cruz Malia back in the pocket. Kicks it downfield. The Welsh crowd starting to sing as they can sense if they score one more try. Oh, Liam Williams. Ball's knocked out of his hands. Cleaned up by George North, though. We have there come on Wales. Get more tries, says Ridian. And South Africa breaking cricket records. So, okay, very true. Most runs scored by a side in the Cricket World Cup. Damn bigger. It's a high again. And, knocked on by Santiago Carreras. The referee is saying play on, although now Mateo Carreras also having the knock on. So it will be the scrum feed for Wales. I wish I could share my Brian a beer with you, bud, says Gary. There's one thing we've talked about possibly doing at the end of this Rugby World Cup is having some sort of live stream of a barbecue or a braai, although it is just a gas barbecue as well. Road to 40k subs looking strong, says Dave Bad. So yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are currently only sitting 8 away from the 37,600. Looks like Liam Williams now will be coming off the field. So some sort of injury. So they're saying Lewis Rees-Zammit will stay on the right wing. George North will go into fullback by the sounds of it. Although they do have Rio Dyer off the bench as well. So I believe he will actually go out to the left wing. No, he might be on the right wing, sorry. As you make this World Cup way more fun, mate. Thanks. CSM, thank you very much, mate. Okay, they've said that Lewis Rees-Zammit has actually transitioned to fullback, I believe, now. Do you braai a lot, Amish? I do not know, but I feel like if there ever was a time to do it, it would be after the World Cup as some sort of special live stream in there, apart from one Commonwealth Games title and one World Juniors title, says Michael. And also cricket is second most popular sport in the world, says Luck. In there. And almost 2K viewers. How many likes? Says Gus. And there at the moment for the likes, we are sitting on 273. So I feel like a good goal by the end of this live stream, probably 500. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button. We are back for the next game that has taken place between Ireland and New Zealand. That live stream will be starting up in 1 hour's time. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Are your New Zealand women cricketers? I bet our South African women in the T20 match today. I was like, okay, cool, you need to braai more, says Michael in there as well. Thomas William with the scrum feed. Sitting 40 metres out from their own line. I feel like the crowd have gone a little bit more silent now because they know that this is the business part of the competition and the business part of the game. 20 minutes remaining. Christ Chinza runs straight at Matthias Alemano. Gets him dragged down just on the halfway line. Now Williams. It's a high again. Go about 25 metres from the Argentine line. Not taken cleanly there by Juan Cruz Malea. They say he didn't get a hand to it, so now Argentina will have possession back into the pocket. Big boot there, a little bit misread from Lewis Rees-Zammit, but it has gone backwards. So will we play on, and he has decided to boot it down the middle of the field himself. The ball keeps rolling, still rolling. Is it going to go all the way? It does, all the way dead. And they will have to go back about 60 metres from where Lewis Rees-Zammit did kick that one. Like I said, a little bit unlucky for Lewis Rees-Zammit. That ball just kept on tumbling over. South Africans in the chat, please press the like button for Hamish to show appreciation. I know how we get, or like to get the numbers up, so go for it. Let's see how quickly it goes up. 305 likes so far, says Landy Bear. Great commentary as always, Hamish, says Michael. Thank you very much, mate. And also we have got there, scrum Argentina Vamos, says John. It's like a bit of a limp here for Julio Montoya, but he does not want to make his way off the field as of yet. Of course, Augustine Crevi, the replacement at the Pumas, got enough to get him through. Who wants this more, says Paul Thompson, and that is going to be the question that will soon be answered. I would say that Argentina, if they are in the game for long enough, which they are currently, they score now, they are going to be right in it for the final moments of the game. And it could come down to a drop kick, a penalty perhaps, to decide it between these two sides. We're going to the short side now for Argentina, 22 metres out. Mateo Carreras, the hat-trick hero in the last game. We haven't really seen enough of him throughout this contest. I believe he is lurking out on the left wing for this one. Thomas Garchot, 20 metres. Santiago Carreras. The rush defence from Dan Bigger meant that they weren't able to get the ball out the back line. Now to the left-hand side, Marcos Kremer again with the pick and go. Ball still available. Bazin Velez on the short side, almost through, but great tackle made by Aaron Wainwright. Now getting closer and closer now, Rodrigo Bruni. Only the 10 metres from the line. New advantage in favour of the Argentines. He had to slap a hand to get it out the back. Thomas Garchot charges straight at his opposite number, Dalmachalski. Now right again, it is against Elliot D as well. That penalty I should mention. I was watching this because the live stream is down. Just back on, great live mate, says Honcho. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciate it. We are here for every game of the Rugby World Cup. Oh, that's a cheap shot. That's going to be probably a card. No. Dan Bigger. No, it was Nick Tompkin who took the big shot. They may even check this one. I think that it was similar to what we saw in, I think it was the last contest. They will go back to play the penalty, but they might have a look in this breakdown because there was, whose was it? The red card last week or the yellow card last week for that one where a man was in the breakdown and he got hit. Yep, they're going to check it. The one that I mentioned will now be checked. And I have a feeling it's going to be a reverse penalty in favour of Wales. No yellow or red card, please. I think that with a shot coming in, I think this is a red card. With the force that's been shown, unfortunately for Argentina, I believe they will now be playing with 14 men on the field. Number 4 blue, Guido Petty, the man who is being questioned here. Oh, that's my fellow South Africans proudly pressing the like button. We should ask YouTube, change it from like to lekker. Yeah, Nick Tompkins, that's head contact. As he was falling downwards, it's really dumb from Guido Petty the way that he's flown in there. And I believe this is going to be a red card. Okay, they're saying that he might not have been looking at Tompkins, might be the only saving grace here. But it does not look flash. It's going to be at least a yellow card for meeting the threshold. Okay, the player falls into him. Carl Dixon might not even be thinking Carl Dixon is at no foul play here, ladies and gents. So this might end up just being a play on, and that would be a penalty to the Pumas for their original advantage. So the rear player falls significantly, which means that it's not an illegal clear out. Marius Jonker on the TMO says it's going to be fine. They've just said it's some of the best refereeing they've seen throughout this Rugby World Cup. With the decision he's made there, he's consistent at least, says Dylan. And also we have got there Messi, says Aiden. And Marius is a World Rugby Shield, says Mimania. And also see what I said about the refereeing, says Charles. And how's it? China says Wazi, and clearly foul play, says Ockert. So the way that they've described that, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone wondering, the crowd are not happy about it, of course, but the way that they've described that is because Nick Tompkins has fallen significantly from the clean out of Guido Petty, and the first initial contact, I think they've said it was on the other man there. That is actually why they've given it as just as the penalty to Argentina. I don't want to hear him in the chat moaning about the ref anymore, says Callum. And also no card and play action, says Rudy. And also now no foul play, says Brian. But yeah, it's certainly a different decision than what we saw in an earlier game of the Rugby World Cup. Okay, Nick Tompkins has to go for a head injury assessment. So he is actually the player who has to make his way from the field. An apology after the match is a lie, says Rich. And also maybe the right decision, says Brian. I'll be honest, in this case, I probably don't know the rules well enough. The commentators said it's some of the best refereeing they have heard in terms of the way that they talk through it. It's about time this is rugby union, not touch, says Julian. And also bias ref, says Rich in there. And also fair ref, says Mitch. And also Eugene is still sitting in my holiday table. I'll get round to it, I promise, says Fluffy there as well. And also, head contact, defo, foul play, wrong decision, ref, says Scott. So in that case, it would now be 1-1 in terms of wrong decisions from the referee. We did see one earlier on against Argentina, which was clearly a yellow card for Josh Adams. So I feel like now both sides are in that same boat of sitting the same. So we're almost on an even slate at this stage of the contest. We're now 5 metres out from the line. Horia Montoya goes short. 5 metres out from the line and actually in a penalty advantage now in favour of the Argentines. Waiting patiently as Bazin Velez. Now very close to the try line here, and that looks like they are just half an inch short. In fact, they may even be held up. Yes, they are. But it is going back for the original penalty in favour of Los Pumas. If this had been England, then I've had 3 sent off by now, says Big Dave. The worst thing is inconsistency by refs. World Rugby need to sort themselves out, says John Smith, and your commentary is incredible as well. I put sound off on the TV and listen to you, says Gary. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciate it. Well, Wales, says Kerr there. Now, Argentina, they want to keep this momentum flowing, so they are going to be kicking it for the corner once more. We have got there the bomb wearing makeup, asking Springboks not to smudge it. Says, okay. I think the fact that the point's even taken to the field is massive for the French, isn't it? Like, at the end of the day, like, he's not the one who's saying go easy on him. It seems to be the supporters who are worried about his well-being. He just wants to go out there and play rugby. But it's a different story when someone like Eben Etzebeth puts in a big shot on you. Now rolling ball once more for the Argentines. They have been told to use it once here. 15 minutes remaining still. This half of rugby. The winner of this game will go through to the Rugby World Cup semi-final. Santiago Carrera sniping run 5 metres out from the line. Bazin Velez gets it away quickly. Now 2 metres short of the line. Wales looking to get the turnover. Their defence so far in front of their own goal line has been impressive, and they will still remain trying to stop Argentina from making their way over the try line. Just half an inch short. Another advantage for offside here. Around the side of the breakdown for Argentina, the pick and go. They will go back for another penalty. We have got there maybe paper didn't give Carl the cards when they changed. To be fair, decent theory. We haven't seen any cards throughout this contest, which I don't think we've had too many games throughout this Rugby World Cup that we haven't seen any penalties, or sorry, any cards given. Bias ref says Rich. Awesome ref says Clifton, sorry it was. Wales might get a warning soon, says Hangarat. Just out from their own line. Their discipline has been poor. Now, I should mention in the second half as well, Wales have given away, I believe it is 5 penalties compared to Argentina, who have only given away the 1 or 2 throughout the second 40 minutes. And also, we have got low. I guess that's it. The referee don't have any yellow cards or red cards in his pocket. Now, William Montoya looks like his day is going to be done. 22 metres made, 8 tackles made throughout the game, and then 1 tackle missed. That's a weird stat to put up on the screen, showing the 1 missed tackle for Montoya, although it is of significance for that man, mainly because throughout the Rugby Championship in 2022, he didn't miss a single tackle, making about 80 or somewhere around there. Whereas Gareth Anscombe today, he is still injured, I believe, from his last performance, but Argentina is still 5 metres out from the line, looking to get themselves that next try that would get them that little bit closer towards a Rugby World Cup semi-final. Thrown in by Augustin Crevi, who is the replacement for Montoya, so not exactly a bad option to have coming onto the field at this stage of the fixture. Once again, Argentina, they're rolling more. Crevi breaking off the back, taken down by Rio, Dyer and Williams. Now, if Wales give away one more penalty, they may end up with themselves going to the bin, or at least their final warning. Joel Scalavi. And within 2 metres now, Argentina, they have not given up on the attack, still trying their absolute best. That looks like a Welsh turnover was almost on the cards, but they don't quite get it. That is over the line, though, and Argentina score their first try of the fixture. It's Joel Scalavi who does so. And now, the match is sitting even, 17 points to 17. Argentina try scorers. Joel Scalavi, they've been on attack for a majority of the last 10 minutes or so, but for Scalavi to go in now could be a possible game changer for him, but he does manage to score it. We'll go like this and like that as well. That was in the 68th minute of the contest, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, the 67th. Been a back and forth encounter between these two sides, that is for sure. We have got their first try, says Gemma Lee. Yeah, they did score their first try up against the English late in the contest. Doing the same here. I wanted the Springboks start Lebok, not Pollard, says Mervilli. I believe it is to do with the attacking game of Marnie Lebok trying to apply the pressure onto France early. That kick is successful, ladies and gents. Argentina take the lead back, 19 points to 17, and currently as we sit, just having a look at the odds, 26 points to 20 final score, says Kerr. It's a likeliness. I mean, I think my end score was 29 points to 27, but we've got a wee way to go before we get there. Bye-bye ABs, long flight to Wellington, says Irish Palangi. And also, I says Christo in there. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. What a game, says him. Yes, certainly an awesome way to start the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. Ronald has said, come on, Wales. We need a South Africa versus Wales final. And I see that you've added a picture, Ronald, compared to, I believe it used to be just an R, didn't it, if I'm not wrong, for last week. And also the German Saudi-owned Prince of Wales says, Grumpus and our Pumas play carefully and slow it down, says Charles. Although I still feel that they need to be a little bit aggressive, because they cannot afford to just keep on giving the ball back to Wales for this last 10 minutes. Big Aroha. Bro says Blues, Nate, let's go. There's Nate there as well. I hope you are doing extremely well. That is going to be knocked on twice by the Welsh, so it is a scrum feed for Argentina. My goodness, I was about to write off Argentina, says Star. Maybe a Reinach hat-trick of ties before halftime, or of tries before halftime again, I can dream, says Michael. And also we're there checking not the same class as Gats, says Irish. And there as well, although one thing's for sure, both of these sides still have more than enough chance of being able to walk away. A magnificent try from Jaco Piper, says Rich, although it does show that you aren't paying as much attention, Rich, because Jaco Piper hasn't been on the field for the last about 50 minutes due to his injury. So it's been Carl Dixon. So you've been, I guess, going after the wrong referee. We're there, come on, Reece Zammer. I need a try from you, says Chantel. Nicolas Sanchez drop goal, can you imagine, says Julian. There's a chance. Although there's also a chance that Dan Bigger gets himself a drop kick late in this game. Usually you're ahead of my stream, but today you're almost 2 minutes behind. However, I think the Irish will go through to the final, says Ronald. Nice run forward, Nicholas Sanchez. He has knocked that ball on. So now the scrum feed will be for Wales. We're starting to see those nerves kicking in for all of the players out there on the field. They know that one little moment here could be the difference. Argentina all the way. Come on, boys. You can do it. Says Ed Lowe. And also refs all look the same, says Fluffy. And also my knees hurt. I would have got my blue name. No comment. And go Wales says, okay, let's go Pumas. Says Andre and Argentina upset, says Tony. Dan Bigger. The Macarena champ, says Sean. And I wonder how much the Norfolk Cry is South only going through. And as you crack me up with you sass the chat, or when you sass the chat, says Dylan. As well as seen a semi-final, they certainly have. I believe they saw one last World Cup, didn't they? Did they take on South Africa in the semis? If I'm not wrong. A ref bias towards Wales, says Mark Smith. And also Wales too narrow, says Jimbo. And now big scrum there. They do win the penalty, Wales. Screwing around the scrum, that is. And I'll be against the try scorer, Joel Skalevi. Come on, Wales. Get back up, says Ridian. He plays for Fred Bintos, I think. And I got a feeling the All Blacks will take it tonight. I think the Island players will be tired, determined but tired, says Mike. Now Sam Costello, he will kick this one towards the touchline. Now I should mention Dan Bigger is still out there on the field throughout the last few moments. So I believe that Bigger may have actually dropped to fullback in this case, or maybe even Costello has dropped. In this case, remember, Hamish has stood for all our teams. Let's stand for Hamish later, guys, says Chloe. So yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is hugely appreciated. 7 penalties conceded by Argentina, and we have got the £5 super sticker from Mumbo Jumbo. And they're greatly appreciated, mate. Now, looking for the rolling ball here. Elliot D. Now, a penalty would put them back in the lead if they can get it over. Thomas Williams goes off to Rio Dyer now. But one thing's for sure, they won't be going for the drop kick unless, of course, they've already got that penalty advantage. And also, we have there while Wales waiting so long to bring on Gavin Hansen, says Owen. And also, Wales make one mistake and the Pumas get the ball. And yes, Hamish Evans been holding on for someone that is going to be a knock-on. Argentina now with Nicholas Sanchez just trying to get a few extra metres made. Wales back in position now, running it hard. Will be Lewis Rees-Zammit, dragged down 40 metres out from his line. Thomas Williams slings it across to Sam Costello. Now in the midfield. George North, one more wide. Here comes Josh Adams, tackled low by Mateo Carreras. 6.5 minutes remaining, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting close to the end of this contest. One of these two sides will be making their way through to the semi-final to take on the winner of Ireland versus New Zealand. Looked like Marcos Kremer fell awkwardly there and is a bit slow. Get him back to his feet now. Cut out pass to Rio Dyer. Cast through the defensive line. He's got numbers with him, but he goes himself there. Dyer finds the offload to Thomas Williams. Lewis Rees-Zammit. He's forced into touch, I believe. They'll have a look at it, but almost scored it in the corner. I think he might have just been a little bit too far to the side. We have got the Kiwi lad. When the World Cup show is over, you should continue a sports page or something, bro. You got to what you do, man, says Sean. So we will be jumping straight into the URC competition as soon as the World Cup is over, as well as the sevens. Then we come back around to Six Nations, Super Rugby, a little bit of cricket probably thrown in there as well. Lewis Rees-Zammit took a massive shot. They'll have to check this to see whether or not there was an arm wrap, of course. But a penalty try would be massive if that did become that due to the no arm wrap. I think he did wrap, though, from first initially seeing it. Does he wrap the arms? Yeah, there's enough of an arm wrap, I would say. And then Lewis Rees-Zammit, just on the touchline. So the last-ditch effort from Juan Cruz Malia, maybe saving his side just a little bit. We have got there when Mapimpi was rammed out that way against Australia. No replays were looked at, says Hanger Rat, and Go Pumas Go Go, says Zion, and no F is not a try, says Joe D. They pay the ref so much he's charging Argentina running tax 4 points off. Good to hear, bro, says Short, and good call, ref, says John there, and come on Pumas, says Chuck T, we have got another donation as well. It's from Sonny DeVilliers and Judith, saying the All Blacks will beat Ireland. And there, of course, we have got a big build-up plan for that live stream. 40 minutes away from the start of that one. It's going to be an epic game when the two sides go head-to-head, and I'm sure there will be plenty to talk about when those two sides take to the field. Looks like Dan Bigger now will be making his way from the field. Does look a little bit injured here. Dan Bigger, of course, already had an injury as we went into this contest. Argentina are inside of their own in-goal area, but Marcos Crema using his size and strength to be able to break 1 metre out from their try line. Now rolling this one back, and will be Buzzin Velez. Now only 6, or in fact 5.5 minutes remaining on the clock. Well, let's check that chance, says Jimbo. And also get it out of there, says Novmum. There, Vamos Argentina, says Thomas. That was close to the touchline. Rio Dyer does well to keep the ball in the field of play. For Hamish's sake, the All Blacks must win tonight, says Michael. Although, as you guys know, I am impartial. If Ireland win, we will still be covering every single game that they play from here on out in the Rugby World Cup. I just think it's going to be an awesome game. And tactically, it's extremely intriguing to know how it's going to go. My Wallaby team, says Heinrich. Now going to the right-hand side, Sam Costello. Off to Rio Dyer, who does look like he's been a bit of a game changer, but that is a game-changing turnover there in the breakdown by the replacement tie head prop there, Eduardo Bello. Kick downfield. Wales again, 22 metres from their line. I have a bit of a concern that Argentina are going to keep on giving the ball back to Wales, which will then give them the counter-attacking opportunity every time they decide to run a big shot on Jack Morgan, but it's knocked on by Corey Domachowski, and another line out now for the Argentinians. So huge if Pumas take this. Argentina won't sleep tonight. 4 minutes, says Ed Lowe. Turnovers won so far, though. 5 turnovers for the Argentines. That has been something that has been a monumental stat throughout this game. Did the Wallabies get out of the group, says Lucas? They did not know. So instead it will be Fiji versus England. That is the first game tomorrow, and hopefully it is as close as this contest is. Pumas all the way, says Tiariki. Go you good thing, Pumas. Stop making dumb choices, keep the ball, says Paul Thompson. And also, we have got Southern Hemisphere will dominate, says Sean. Great work, Hamish, watching in Vancouver, says Courtney. 12 handling errors from Wales, so that is definitely something that has been costing them throughout this game. 9 handling errors from the Argentines. Still only 2 points difference between these two teams. So that means if Wales get themselves a penalty, a kickable penalty, they would be able to take the lead. But at the moment, Argentina, they have got the scrum beat on the halfway line. I had a feeling Argentina would take this one. Just hope they show the same competitive spirit in the semis, says Mark. I've called Argentina by 2 points. But so much can happen in a couple of minutes, says Mike. Exactly right. And every player in this game will sleep very well, says Gus. Yeah, there's been a lot of running rugby seen between these two sides. It's probably lucky that they've had so many handling errors so that they can actually take some breaks in between. But we can hear the voices of Argentina's fans, as well as the Welsh. They are still singing, hoping for the late change. Time is off, and they'll give Wales more opportunity. And Hamish, you and Grant Nisbet will be perfect for commentary. Sorry, Justin Marshall, says Paul. Just got to run down the clock now, says Kerr. Exactly right. Use up as much time as they can. Try and get it deep into the Welsh territory. But you have to make sure that if you get that opportunity to run the ball and there is a chance for a counter-attack, Argentina do need to take it. They can apply that little bit of extra pressure. If they score another try, they win this game. But Wales in position at the moment. I should mention it was actually there, but intercepted. Argentina with Nicolas Sanchez. That will be the game. And he scores it between the posts. Don't injure him. You're going to need him next week. But Nicolas Sanchez, the interception. Argentina now give themselves the 9-point lead with a successful kick just around the corner. And that may just be the game here for the Argentines. Already leading by the 2 points. You can see the emotion now on the faces, but that interception, the Welsh under pressure, trying to get that ball out the back line. And then it was stolen by none other than the veteran Nicolas Sanchez to get the turnover, waiting patiently, stole it beautifully, and then Rio Dyer just didn't have the pace to be able to cut him off, and Nicolas Sanchez scores the final try of the game. Baz and Rio Gamer has said, hi Hamish, welcome in mate, hope you're doing extremely well. Nicolas Sanchez, first upset of the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. Unfortunately, it was the youngster Sam Costello who did throw that pass. But Wales, they were under immense pressure. Argentina now looking like they have booked themselves a spot in the Rugby World Cup semi-finals. Now, Emiliano Boffelli, of course, still has to get this kick over to confirm it, but it's 15 metres straight out in front, and that now makes the score 26 points to 17 in favour of the Argentines. If we did it, Argentinians just won it, or just went prison rules, says it was there from Kerr. But I mentioned it. If they had the chance to attack, they had to take it, because if they scored a try that was going to summarise this game, Rio Dyer, though, takes that ball, gets pushed in a touch. They retain their own line out there, Wales, so there was half a chance for them, but goes wrong just at the last moment. Vamos Pumas, says Sergio. And also we have got there, he won't make that mistake again, says Gus. Yeah, the baby with the tears in the eyes for the Welsh. And also Rich has left this group. Says Mitch there, good interception, well done Argentina. Says Hillary. And also Gatlin really did a good job on the Welsh team. Says Red 7. To be fair, with where they were before this Rugby World Cup, I have to say, with what they've been able to do, like, it's been pretty impressive, the turnaround that they've had to become one of the top sides in their group. And then also now, you know, they will be disappointed with this performance, but I feel like there was a lot that could have gone right for them if they had just made a couple little switches. Semi-final Wales versus New Zealand, says YouTube user. Not quite, no. It will be Argentina versus the winner of New Zealand, Ireland. That's another penalty to Argentina. They're ramping it up now. And Boffelli telling the crowd to scream a little louder. Our penalty, Los Pumas, says John. And Dixon, nice Southern Hemisphere. And could we see Southern Hemisphere domination this weekend? Says Dylan. Well, it has started on the right note, because we've seen Argentina, the first underdog, to be able to win themselves the contest in these Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. Is it a trend that will continue, or is it just a one-off that we're going to see here? Perhaps the Northern Hemisphere fire back in the next contest. But I should mention our next live stream, ladies and gentlemen, it will be starting in 30 minutes time. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is hugely appreciated you all being here. We are on the road to 38,000 subscribers. Emiliano Boffelli, in fact, will be Nicholas Sanchez to line up this kick. I have a few things to do. Congratulations, Pumas, and great commentary, Hamish. Says Brian, thank you very much, mate. And well done, Argentina, says YouTube user. And there as well, but Sanchez lines the kick up. It has gone over. And that will be the game, ladies and gentlemen. Argentina progress in this Rugby World Cup campaign to the semi-final, where they will be going head-to-head with either Ireland or the New Zealanders. But 29 points to 17. I have to say, the scoreboard, it does definitely favour Argentina in terms of the way that it sits, but this game was a lot closer than 12 points. I can guarantee you that. Wales right in the hunt up until their last interception. Nicholas Sanchez scoring their last minute try. What a contest, says Dylan. Shock, says Adam. It is the underdog winning. They came in as $2.80 underdogs, the second biggest underdogs of the quarterfinals. So I'd say it's a slight shock in terms of that they won it by 12 points, but not hugely that they were able to get themselves the upset victory in this game. What time is kickoff for New Zealand? Says I was here, so it is in 2 hours' time that New Zealand will be going head-to-head with the Irish. So we will be starting that one in around 30 minutes' time is when our next live stream does start. Thanks for that, Hamish. Was a lot more entertaining than watching alone. Big ups, brother, says Richard. And we are here for every game of the Rugby World Cup. Kerr managed to win his bet as well. You put 100 on them, I think, when they were about $4 underdogs. So you made about $300. It's a very decent effort, Kerr. And time for the ABs win now. South, 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 says Sam Wilson. And who is the player of the match? I would say for Argentina, who would they give player of the match to? Probably Emiliano. I don't know if he did enough off the ball to get man of the match. I honestly don't know who would get it for the Argentines. Juan Cruz Malia probably in with a good shot, seeing as he made that try-saving tackle as well as helping just in general for the Argentines. We never ruled out Argentina in the Southern Hemisphere. We know what they're capable of, says just in case. And also we'll get their Wales played bad, says Linnea, about 13 handling errors. And that's not long enough for a map. IRP Hamish's sleep schedule says I was here. Yeah, we're going to be running off about 3 hours sleep or 2 hours sleep from a about 40-hour period. So it should be fun. See how we go. But of course, The next live stream, it is starting in 30 minutes, like I mentioned, between Ireland and New Zealand. A massive, massive game. And then whoever wins that will face the Argentines. We could see Ireland versus Argentina. That is a match we don't see too often. There is a chance we see the Rugby Championship rematch between Argentina and New Zealand. There are plenty of probabilities, plenty of outcomes that could happen for this Rugby World Cup. And we will be here every step of the way. But it has been greatly appreciated you all being here for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. It is one of those ones that, I mean, it's a pretty awesome game of rugby to watch when both sides are throwing absolutely everything into it. And yes, there were errors throughout it, but it was one of those edge of those seat encounters that up until the last maybe interception try, really, we didn't know what way the game was going to go. And I hope that the next game that does take place is going to be in similar fashion of a very hard one to predict. But like I said, that live stream starting up in 30 minutes time. You do not want to miss it, as it's going to be an absolutely awesome game. I don't know how you stay awake without coffee, says Marina. To be honest, I don't really either. Like, I came home from cricket playing earlier on, and I was half asleep. And then I sleep for 2 hours, and all of a sudden my brain is like, hey, we slept for about 12, so we'll sleep for a little bit longer. Will this loss weight effect on Ireland's mind? I don't think so. I think they'll be concentrated on what's happening for their game rather than what's happening in the others. Of course, they'll now know that if they win the game, they'll be playing Argentina, so that might be a little bit of extra motivation, a game that we don't often get to see take place. But yeah, I think Ireland definitely have their eyes firmly set on the ABs at the moment rather than what was happening in this contest. All Blacks will be up for it shortly. ABs to blow Ireland out of the water, make Irish eyes cry, go New Zealand. Looking forward to the game. Wales were just as bad as the jersey numbers. Yeah, I don't know what happened with the jersey numbers, and 2 a.m. already. Where did the time go? Exactly right. Like, I thought we were, like, the fact that when we woke up, it was only 6 hours, or roughly about 6 or 7 hours till we knew exactly who's through. Like, in 4 hours' time, ladies and gentlemen, we know the Rugby World Cup quarter finalists who have made their way through to the semis, which is quite fun. 2 hours away from kickoff for New Zealand Ireland as well. So anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Be sure to jump over to that next live stream between Ireland and New Zealand, even if you just have it open, ready to go when we do start. Have a bit of a chat in there as well, because there's going to be some epic moments coming up in the near future. But thank you all very much for tuning in. We will be back in 28 minutes time for the next live stream. So we'll see you all for the next one.